for the Shop Report with
Barbershop Jay.
What up, sports fans? Welcome to the Shop Report. I'm Barbershop Jay. I'll be your host for the day. Here's what's happening. If you're up and around, you're out and about, and you want to give us a shout, that number to call is area code 267-687-0026. Once again, that number to call is area code 267-687-0026. Right quick before I introduce my guest, or my co-host, should I say, I just wanted to let the folks out there listening, if you tried to tune in at 8 o'clock and you couldn't catch us, we unfortunately, periodically it happens sometime like that. We had a technical difficulty that while we were broadcasting, or I thought we were broadcasting, I noticed that there was a technical difficulty or technical issue, and I tried to troubleshoot off the top of my head but not lose the show. But unfortunately, we had to shut it down momentarily, and now we back up. So with that being said, we appreciate y'all for staying with us. I want to introduce my man, my cat, none other. How do I even say it, Brother Rich? I'm so discombobulated right now. From the NYC, a.k.a. Rucker Park. Brother Rich, holla at your boy.
Well, it's always an honor to be with you. And you should have just told the people straight up that, we know that it's a lot of traffic in the Dallas area right now in terms of all of y'all are home. And, it's a lot of internet traffic going on. Just tell the people the real. They understand. And so it was a little slow to get up. We kind of got our things together late, today. So it's okay. But
yeah.
as always, I'm honored to be on the program with you, sir. Always, Mr. John.
Yeah, I bet you are. But right quick, I hear a little clipping when you speak, man. I don't know if that's on this end or my end or not. If you can, maybe try to adjust your volume and such, or so on and so forth. And on the other side of the ledger, I appreciate you. Yes, appreciate you. That sounded a little bit better. And on the other side of the ledger, we got my man from up north. That's Joey James, a.k.a. Double J. Tell the people what you say.
I received my stimulus check from the Shop Report. However, I looked at a deferred payment to a one Stephen J. Smith located at the Kettle inside of Cowboy Stadium, and
right.
I was left with $5.
Okay, got you. You shouldn't have been left with nothing. Seems like we got a caller to jump in on the line right quick here. I don't see a name or nothing or such, but I'll ask you, caller, what's your name and where might you be calling from?
Cleveland, Ohio, Christopher Williams.
Okay, this is Christopher Williams. What's up, Mr. Williams? How you be today?
Good. How are you?
I'm here, man. I can't complain. I thought you was my coworker, RB, for a minute there. He should be joining us as well. Maybe a little bit.
RB told me to call in.
Oh, RB told you to call in? Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope you don't take this personal, because we all family here and it's all love here. But if RB should decide to call in, if he don't decide to call in, could you please let him know I will be cracking his head when I get back on the job site. I will definitely be cracking his head. He talked all that smack, talking about, I'm calling in Tuesday. I can't wait to call in Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, man, we was at the job, man, he didn't even have his mask on all the way. He's like, I can't wait to call in. I was like, oh, slow down there, Kimosabe. Slow it down there, big fella. Slow it down. It's all right. He a glutton for punishment. That's my road dog, man. You know what I'm saying? We vibe off each other, man. We really do. You know what I'm saying? We keep each other going. But, so go ahead. Somebody was saying something? Okay.
Oh, no, I was just saying, he been trying to get me to call in for a long time, so I decided to call today.
Oh, man, it's all good. Well, the more the merrier, man. That's what we're here for, especially with everybody on the shutdown now. I guess, what I'm saying, playing who can toss the toilet paper, rolled up toilet paper in the trash can, shooting the jump shots from far away. That do get kind of boring after a little while or something in the house. You know what I'm saying? But it's all to the GO, man. We're glad to have you. We're glad to have you. But RB, if you're out there listening, don't you miss this? Don't you miss this whooping? Because if you miss this whooping, I know you're listening. If you miss this whooping and I get back to the job site, I'm gonna give you the business. Like I give Aaron the business about being Mr. Box Office. But anyway, I digress. All right, fellas, what we got here today, first off, I want to ask everybody, and Mr. Williams, we'll start with you. The virus, the coronavirus, we all know what didn't transpire, from when we first heard about it, when it hit in the States. till now, man. How you holding up, man? How's your family? And what's going on? How y'all managing to get through to this point?
It's been rough. I ain't even gonna lie. It's, because I'm a single father, so it's real rough having kids in the house all the time.
Yeah.
Man, I commend those teachers. I'm telling you.
Yeah, so do I. And, hey, I grew up. My mom was a teacher, man. So I know what it's like, man. You know what I mean? It's tough, man. You're right, because they got to deal with a whole bunch of folks' kids on a day-to-day basis. You know what I mean? Especially now with the culture being the way, not the culture, but the climate rather, being the way that it is now when it comes to children. You say certain things this way or that way. You got some parents out there who want to, cause problems and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's a big deal. But I'm with you, man. Maybe this is what, not all of it, but to some degree, we had to see, just how much appreciation we should have for those who teach our children, especially those who really still care. You know what I mean? So that's all to the good. Brother Rich, what about you? How's things going on your end of town, man? I know the rented mule service got to be down right about now. Ain't nobody renting mules or whatnot.
Well, just like the cowboy service is out of business, but nevertheless.
The shop ain't never out of business, though. The shop is never out of business.
The shop is never out of business.
The barber shops are, but not the shop report.
The Cowboys been out of business for, 20-something years now? So, but nevertheless,
no more
on the serious thing.
Yeah.
We are all adjusting to the new ways of life, the new norms of life, the new modes of life, and I think we all are finding appreciation in things that we once didn't pay attention to. Frontline medical personnel, people who work at grocery stores, and what it is to live in these neighborhoods and really understand what it is to have neighbors, and really take a look at our own children and our families and our loved ones again, and find value again in the simple things of life.
Indeed. I'm still getting some feedback from somebody. It's like I can hear whatever it is I'm saying. Somebody got their radio up too loud, or maybe a little. If you could turn it down for me a little bit, I would appreciate it. Double J, what about you, man? How things going up your way?
Well, I'm gonna be completely transparent. For the last 48 hours, I was probably had the most anxiety that I've ever had in my life, because I thought I was becoming symptomatic of what we're all aware of is happening around us. And it turned out, at least up to this point, that it's clearly not the case for me, thank God. But nevertheless, for those that are going through it, and I definitely want to wish them all the best. And I can't stress enough how this show and program has been, continues to be, even before this started, was always an outlet and an escape from the reality, and bringing that one central tie-in, which was sports, as much as life and community, all in one place. So I'm definitely grateful for that, and hopefully others will be more than willing to call in and give their take as well.
I appreciate that, Double J. Yeah, the same. Yeah, no, we rib each other. We go back and forth with the banter and so on and so forth. But again, just to let folks out there know, it's all love here. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we all want to see each other prosper and do better. You know what I mean? Because that too is a part of why we put this thing together the way we did. I'm still getting some feedback. Somebody's got a when I say something, I can hear myself. So somebody's got a radio, whatever they're listening to the show on. If you could just turn that down just a little bit for me, I would really, really appreciate it. Thank you, because that's echoing in my ear. But yeah, at the end of the day, we go back and forth with each other, man. But I want to see Brother Richard. Tell me if he called me and tell me, even this might be the littlest thing that he did. You know what I'm saying? That he was better for that day than he was the day before. Then I'm glad for him. It's heartfelt. It's the same with Double J and D Gully. RB. Mr. Williams. Anybody that calls in or whatnot, whether I know you personally or not. I appreciate that you took the time out of your busy schedule, whether you're quarantined or not, to call and check in on us and check with us and see what we're talking about. But understand that when you leave here, you know what I'm saying, we want you to be having left better for it than maybe at any other time or anything else that's going on in your life right now. I hope I said that, put that together somewhat decent, but you all get the idea. It's all love here.
Jerry Jones couldn't have said it better.
Oh, save it. Anyway, let's dive into our first. Don't laugh at them, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. This you don't understand what I have to deal with when we not on the air. My gosh, I'd rather talk to the squirrels. Well, of course, with the virus being what it is, true sports, quote unquote, as we know it, has come to a screeching halt. All right. I mean, they got the NBA folks, the big wigs, trying to put together horse competitions. How are they going to do that? I have no idea. In the NFL, which we thought was the big dog on the block, because there was some talk about the NFL, for instance, they're going to be the last ones to give in to the stay-at-home order or the whatever it is whatever the orders are, because they vary from state to state. Some senators, they didn't told their people they ain't got to stay in. They can go wherever they want to go. But meanwhile, just keep spreading it. But anywho, well, here recently, maybe a couple of days ago, I saw where the NFL said that they were going to hold their draft, because at first they were talking about, we're going to keep the draft is going on the schedule. We're going to have it wherever they're going to have it at, and blah, draconian and like Goodell and sticking his chest out. And I just saw something, like I said, a couple of days ago that said that they're going to still hold the draft, but it's going to be done so virtually. All right? Because at the end of the day, man, whatever this is that we're dealing with here, this is the likes of which we've never seen, not in our lifetimes. So, and it's a big deal, you know what I mean? So if you ain't got to go nowhere, then don't go nowhere. But in the midst of all of that, and like I said, our true sports being, having come to a screeching halt, I thought I'd bring to light something that I'm not a gamer, but eSports. All right? Now, it's been around since the what, Double J, you still a gamer. Esports has been around, since the early 2000s? Maybe even late 90s even? I know it's been around as early as 2010. That much I do know. But while it was like a niche thing maybe in the begin, here lately, maybe as recent as 2 or 3 years ago now, maybe 3, the NBA got on board with, they 2K online, and they were having drafts for people who play it online could come and get drafted. You had to do a My Player and so on and so forth. So esports has come a long way. And I guess my question is it the new norm? Right? Is it the new norm? And what I mean by is it the new norm, let's say we don't get true sports back no time soon. Brother Rich, will you start tuning in to esports games to get your entertainment fix on?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
What?
Absolutely not. Esports are not sports. Esports is a game, not a sport. It's the only reason they put E on there is for the entertainment value that it presents and being able to put it on television and get revenue, generate revenue. But esport is not a sport. It's a game. That's what it is. That's why you referred to Double J as a gamer. People that played those things, it's called video games. That's what we knew them as. That's what they initially were referred to as. Now they are entering the arena where video games have become games about sports. They've put sports graphics on them, and the NBA has sold their rights, and the NFL has sold their rights. So now we're saying that's a sport. That's not a sport. You have to exert energy to be the sport. Now, that's a game. You have to have a quick eye-hand coordination. So mainly some 12-year-old Japanese kid is going to win that. So I'm great for him and them. But let's not confuse that with that's going to be a sport. No, I'm not going to spend any time watching that and confusing that for sports.
Okay. All right. Mr. Williams, what say you?
I gotta agree with him on that one.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't watch a minute of it, to be honest with you.
You say not a minute of it, huh? Okay. All right.
Nah, I doubt it.
Yeah, it's all good. I mean, I've talked to a few people before I even came on the air with this, and I think to you and Brother Richard's point, I think there's only one person out of maybe like the 10 or 15 people I talked to said that they would, because they really sport junkies. You know what I mean? They got man caves with, coasters of their favorite team and matches and all that old kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So maybe they would. But yeah, they was like one out of out of 15, so 1 in 14 for the folks that said they will watch it. Double J, what about you? Would you watch it?
I have been actually. So I mean, naturally,
So
if you were to ask me,
so have I. But
which
go ahead.
of the two would I prefer? You know, if there was, even if it were the Knicks versus the Suns in real life versus any comparable matchup on eSports happening simultaneously, I would tune into the real thing. However, that's just simply not an option now. So we were already talking about $1 billion industry,
Exactly.
and now something. If anything, this COVID has been the catalyst for esports jumping. Probably, I would argue, at least 1 decade, if not 2 decades, in growth.
Gotcha.
And where we thought it could be and get to is now going to happen because there's simply nothing in the way. You know, all those obstacles have fallen by the wayside presently.
Yeah, and you know what? And go ahead. Go ahead? Were you finished? Go ahead.
Well, and I was going to say it is. You see a different side of those same athletes. So again, we talk about speaking of video games pretty frequently on the program. We always say, well, this is where the fan forgets that these guys are human. And now when you're seeing the player play, in some cases like Sabonis played with the Pacers, while
Right.
many other players or athletes have gone with different teams. So you're getting a more intimate feel for the person rather than who they are when they're playing their respective sport.
Got you. Yeah, sort of kind of makes them, for lack of a better word or term, makes them human. Just like now you're in the same position as I am. You know what I mean, so to speak. You know, you got the controller, I got a controller. You don't have the advantage of being 292 pounds. You know what I'm saying? And having gone through a combine now, like Brother Richard's point about the 12-year-old, the 12-year-old kid can say he beat Richard Sherman in Madden, for instance. All right, but I'm with you. I'm with you on it not being a sport per se. But then some people say the argument that they try to make for it being a sport is the fact that there's competition, and that definitely is an ingredient when it comes to sport. But I'm with Brother Rich and Mr. Williams over here to a degree, and I'm feeling you too, Double J, because I have watched. Look, I watched the Madden challenge thing. Now, don't ask me what channel it was on. I got YouTube TV, so whatever. This is different than Spectrum and AT&T and all of that. So when I pull it up, I got these little boxes, and they kind of showing me what's on. If I like what I'm seeing in the little box, I click the box, it enlarges, and I'm watching whatever that program is. So I see the EA Madden challenge or whatnot, right? Of course, they don't show a lot of the game action, but they show just enough as they talking to the players or showing the players to get you so that you understand who's who and what's going on and so on and so forth. Look, man, do you know that the top winner, and they got all kind of tournaments everywhere, the top winner makes $100,000? You want me to repeat that? The guy who wins the belt, the Madden Challenge, gets $100,000. The guy who comes in second gets $75,000. They give out monies to the top 4 people. So, of course, first place, second place, third place, fourth place. If I'm not mistaken, fourth place gets about 10. So at the end of the day, I used to try to encourage my sons, you know what I mean, especially my oldest boy. You know, when I look, I'm not a gamer, all right? Well, I'm not going to lie. Well, I don't do the PlayStation like I used to. When it first came out, before I had more kids, yeah, I was into it, you know, all of that kind of stuff. But as I got a little older, my patience for, you know, taking the L to that 12-year-old that Brother Rich was talking about, it just, you know, I was thumping people in the throat, man, you know, and getting thumped too. So, you know, it just didn't work out well for me. So I just left it alone. But as I got a little older, the one sort of online or virtual game I did kind of stay with was racing. And we'll get to the iRacing here in a minute because there's a few things I want to point out about that particular esport and where I think it's going. But other than that, man, yeah, I didn't do them. But I told my son, I said, look, man, if I buy this thing, I try to, show him the cost analysis of it. If I spend, and I didn't buy it when it was brand new, of course, but I still paid a nice penny for it when I did get it. I said, okay, that's fine, I'll get it. But let's look at it as an investment. All these kids your age right now, this is all they doing. Man, there's some kid that come on Nickelodeon that all he does, I can't even think of his guy's name, but I was watching it with my daughter one day, happened to just be on. Some kid gets to review or preview video games, and they've turned it into a show, a half-hour show. And that's all he do is preview. I mean, and they stupid games. They're not. I'm like, who would play that? But this dude got a show. So I'm telling my sons, hey, this is what we going to do with this here. You going to get on 2K and such and so on and so forth. Man, it was tournaments, $50 to get into a tournament, and the prize was $5,000 and stuff like that. I said, man, you could pay your whole college tuition. You don't need no scholarships or no nothing. You could be on here all day from your own room and pay for college. I mean, do that sound like a bad deal, Brother Rich?
Jay, I don't know if you really want me to answer this question. I'm serious. I'm gonna step out on this one.
Okay.
I'm gonna let y'all.
Okay, man. All right. Oh my gosh. Well, anyway, let me reword the question I asked you. Let me say it this way. And I'm gonna throw the Rona in here. Did the coronavirus prove that eSports is more vital? That's the word I really wanted to get in here. It's more vital than ever for our entertainment as opposed to seeing it live. Mr. Williams will ask you, since how we repose the question. And I remember the operative word is vital, but go ahead.
There is definitely a place for esports. I'm just speaking like for me personally. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because I tell my kids the same thing. If y'all playing this, then go hard, and
yeah.
maybe we can get some money off of it.
Yeah.
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 So I know exactly what you're saying. I do the same thing with mine. Like, I'm paying $75, $80 a game for this, and you better make it count.
Yeah.
But it's like for the kids, it's like, well, they're looking at me like, well, if we have to work at it, it's not a game.
Oh.
I'm like, yeah, but if you want that $100K,
yeah, yeah,
then, you do what you got to do. Now, back in my day, I probably could have been all in on esports, but
yeah,
like you say, once you get older, you got kids. It's just I just didn't get. I'm just not into it like I once was.
Yeah, no doubt. Double J. So, seeing how I reposed the question, will your take is it any different, or you still stay? Well, you already said you kind of watch it anyway too. And again, I haven't seen any 2K. Have you watched any 2K? Double J?
Yeah, that's the one right now. So ESPN, matter of fact, is doing it's a combination. It's multi-platform. Here's what's making this like kind of mind-boggling is that we're getting an opportunity to see it on major networks now when it was rare. Like maybe at best you would get some PC games that were on ESPN2, right, at some odd hours of the night. But now you're getting, as you pointed out, your Maddens on ESPN. You're getting the NBA 2K tournament with actual NBA players, amongst many others. So you have all these different platforms. And, again, despite all of this, are the circumstances from an advertiser or a platform owner or esports team owner, channel, broadcaster, wherever you stand with this, you see an opportunity. People look at the extent that Dana White is going to right now.
I know.
To keep his program running.
I know.
So with this, yes, they're doing it for charitable reasons and using some general, the appropriate rationale, but this is becoming essential. It's the same way we talk about essential businesses.
Yeah.
There's not enough live programs.
Yeah. Well, Brother Rich.
So even though it's a game, it is what it is right now, and that's why I said I think it kicked it up a notch by about a decade as far as where it can get to, because like it or hate it, here we are. And pretty soon, no different with myself with the UFC, I was a casual fan. But now, we fast forward a year, right? Or hopefully, God forbid, that long. But if you're in tune with everything that was happening and you become familiar, no different than we are with the athletes in today's NBA or any of the pro sports, you're going to want to continue to provide that viewership to stay up to date with what's happening.
Right.
So it's going to have a very big positive impact, I think, overall.
Well, I mentioned by the late 2010s, it was estimated that the total esports audience will grow to over 454 million viewers. And as you mentioned, Double J, they estimated too, and this is in 2010 now, with revenues topping out over $1 billion. That's $1 billion in U.S. dollars, folks. Okay, so it is a big deal. But you're right. For the most part, when we see in live sports, when we see in live sports, it's still esports is a big deal, but is it still at that point is more of a niche? Don't you think so, Double J?
I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
I think it's something that, especially
but it's
with
a big
the
niche.
millennial generation and hitting that next gen as well, we're used to it. We grew up with it. We weren't, we were not, for the most part, some of us at the latter stages of the millennial gen had the Tecmo Bowls and stuff, but they at least had a console in some way, shape, or form from conception to present day.
Yeah.
So at one point or another, you either had a mouse or you had a physical controller in your hand where there is already a tie-in, the same way that we all picked up a basketball or a football, etc.
Yeah. Too, me and RB was talking about it too. He said that when you mentioned Tecmo Bowl, he was like, "Yeah, man. When I was playing Tecmo Bowl, he said if they'd had it back then, he said I'd have been on all of that." But again, once you get a little older, man, and you start having children and more children or whatever the case may be, your life's priorities do seem to change, or at least they should. But I'll tell you this, Mr. Williams, check this out. We talked about that 100,000. Something else I came across when I was looking up the information for this particular topic. Did you know that 100,000 will get you in the door to being a franchise owner of a Contender eSports gaming center? These things, and I didn't know this until I looked it up, these things are popping up all over the place. And technically what they're replacing, Brother Rich, Double J, when we grew up, well, me in particular, I'm probably the oldest out of all of y'all here today, they was, what do we have? What do we call them? We went to the arcade where they had to, host the video games, Galaxia and so on and so forth. Well, now these things have turned into gaming centers and the Cavs got one too, actually. And I actually got in touch with the people because before the Rona hit, I'm glad we even on this subject because I got to go back and reach out to them again. I talked to somebody from the Cavs about going down there, taking a look and see how it is and so on and so forth. If I wanted to take my kids, because they're a little older, teenagers and so on and so forth. But then then talk to some people and at that time, had them on the program or whatever to talk about, this whole gaming thing and so on and so forth. So I'd already had the idea to do this. But the Cavs have a gaming room, and I guess it's a whole bunch of. I didn't get to see it. I just saw pictures of it. So I guess it's some sort of like big facility. That's what they're doing now. They're building these big facilities, putting a whole bunch of TVs and Xboxes and PlayStations and so on and so forth. And then all these people who are, I don't know if you had to be licensed. I don't know all the details of it, but all of these people who play all these gamers, they'd come to these centers or whatever, or these gaming centers or whatnot. And they play video games all doggone day long. But again, man, it's monies.
It's actually a class now at the University of Akron. They built a big center, and it's actually a class where they go in there and teach people how to game.
Seriously,
I just found that out not that long ago. They're serious.
Yeah, see, yeah. Well, I mean, if anybody's just listening, if you out there listening, anybody here on the panel today, if you're interested, you can look up You can look them up online, this Contender Gaming Centers. It's called info.contenderesports.com. So info.contenderesports is all one word, .com. hey, it might be worth the investment if that seemed like like the esports. Once the real sports come back, if they come back, sooner rather than later, we hope. The esports, of course, is still gonna have its thing, but you might have to go sit at the kids' table. But guess what? It's some good eatings on that doggone table. Look like, you know what I mean. And then lastly, some of the more notable esports gaming things. We mentioned Madden and we mentioned 2K, but my favorite is the racing, iRacing. And I think the last time I may have mentioned this briefly, I called it IRL racing. IRL is actually Indy Racing League, which is with real racing cars and so on and so forth. So that's my bad, because it's been a while since I was on iRacing, maybe about 7 or 8 years now. I had a membership. They're not that expensive either. And you get you a little, I had this steering wheel I had wasn't that good, but it worked for me. I played some guy in Pro Street or something or another, one of them races, and it was a race where you had to go from start to finish. It was kind of like in a straight line, so to speak, but it had a little couple turns and so on and so forth. Anyway, I ended up being the champion. That was the only one of those I ever won. But in the iRacing League, were you going to say something, Double J?
Well, I was going to say, yeah, I don't know if you've caught any of the NASCAR races, because they're done comparable to that. Yes.
That's why that's why I'm mentioning it. And there's a guy I'm gonna mention too, man. He shouldn't have did what he did. But the iRacing has been, say that again. Okay, the iRacing has been.
I know where you're going with it.
Yeah, the iRacing has been around for quite a while. And I got out of it, like I said, a while back, so a few years back. But I'm definitely thinking about picking it back up again. I'm gonna get me a real steering wheel this time. But the iRacing has real race, guys who actually raced the actual race cars, the NASCAR, the Joey Logano's, the Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s, and the Bubba Wallace's. If you don't know who Bubba Wallace is, you should look him up. Boy, he is a malcontent at times. He is a character, but he's good for the sport, I think, NASCAR anyway.
That's the black guy, right?
Yeah, Bubba Wallace. But
yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think he's some relation to Wendell, the infamous.
Oh, wow, okay.
If I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on that. But if I'm not mistaken, I think he's some relation to Wendell. No, was it Wendell Wallace or was it Wendell Scott? I might have the two.
Wendell Scott.
It was Wendell Scott. Okay, my bad. Yeah, Wendell Scott. But you get to race alongside. Like if I'm in an iRace, if you got a membership and I'm in an iRace right now, and let's say I'm racing Le Mans and I got a Bugatti. I like the Bugattis anyway. And I'm racing one of the Bugattis or whatnot. If one of the drivers, if the driver on my left could be Joey James or it could be Joey Logano. Here it is. I'm racing next to Joey Logano. So, I mean, if I happen to, when the race is all said and done, if I happen to come in a few places ahead of Joey Logano, I mean, what's that going to say? You know what I mean? It's going to make me think I can go out and really get a real race car. I mean, I like going fast anyway. So, you know what I mean? I drive my cars like we're on the racetrack anyhow. But, yeah, my man Bubba Wallace in the NASCAR race, and they actually held the NASCAR race. What was it, on Fox, Double J? Because I forget the network. I just know when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, they actually doing this. It was actually on TV. They held the NASCAR race, 500 laps of whatever it was, Daytona or something or another. And it was the virtual cars. It was the iRacing League cars. But some of the drivers, they showed pictures of the drivers at home, quarantine, with their little steering wheel setups or whatever. They driving the race cars in the iRacing League, man, that was being shown on TV. I thought that was pretty cool. I really do. But Bubba Wallace, he had a rage quit is what they call it. And he crashed somebody. And then one of his sponsors, his real sponsors now, Blue Emu, after he acted up, we want to call it that, they dropped him right after the race, man. They said, we want guys who want to race, guys who want to win, not quitters. He quit because he crashed on whatever lap it was. I think it was lap 47 or something or another. And that back straight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he crashed. But it wasn't a real car, of course. It was but they counting the standings, the points, all that stuff is they counting it as guys actually being out there in the car. So I guess that's why he was salty. Because because he lost the race or whatever. He crashed and he lost the race, man. They got rid of him as a sponsor. But, I say that, I just say, man, to folks out there, at the end of the day, why we don't
Sounds
have
like a man after my own heart.
Oh, stop it. Why we don't have the real sport? Okay, well, so what you going to – but I'll say this too, though. Watching some of the old classic games.
Jay, because that's ridiculous.
What's ridiculous?
What you just described. I can see why. That's ridiculous that you're asking a professional car driver. And I don't even know what y'all were talking about until you all just described it. But you're asking a professional race car driver to race on a goddamn video game.
Hey.
Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. A video game and to be judged by according to his skill by that. That's ridiculous. On the face of this, man. Come on, man.
Well, wait a
That's
minute.
ridiculous.
Well, wait a minute. I get where you're going with the ridiculousness of it. However, racing is just a little bit different. Just like flight. You know what I mean? Now, of course, nothing is like the real thing. That's why when they say the true sports thing, they put it in quote marks. Nothing is like the real thing, of course, obviously. But a racing simulator, you can get closer to racing, what the feel of racing actually is, than you can what Madden is to football, or what 2K is to basketball. Driving is driving, right? To some degree. And again, ain't nothing like being out there in the dead of winter, in the Cleveland winter, you understand what I'm trying to tell you? You know what I mean? When your one tire's bald-headed and the other three don't know, you know what I'm saying? You got to go on the other side of town. Yeah, that's a little bit different than being in the simulator for sure. But they use simulators all the time for pilots and so on and so forth. I mean, I'm just saying you can get closer to the real thing with racing than you could 2K and Madden. That's all I'm saying, Brother Rich. You know what I mean? You still got to, you got to upshift, you got to downshift, you got to do all of that.
I can understand that.
You know what I mean? You got to hit the paddle, you got to know when to hit, and it's the same thing. You know what I mean? I just get a kick out of it.
But I'm saying I wouldn't want to be, as a driver, as a professional driver, it'd be different if you told me this is what I do for my profession. But as a professional driver, I wouldn't want my points, my standings to be taken off the circuit. Be put on a video game.
I got you.
That's what you were talking about. You said they gave him the points. It counted the same way on a video game as opposed to when we out here driving in the real car and on a real track situation.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is from my understanding. You know what I mean? Because it's been a while since I was in the iRacing. So, and I was just perusing it a couple of days ago, trying to see if I was going to, pay my little package monies again and all of that for it or whatever. Some things have changed. So, I don't know, Brother Rich, to be honest with you. It could be, but that's from my understanding. The standings and things they do measure. You know what I mean? They do go against them. But I'm with you on that. Because, I got more control. What you're saying in that point is I got more control of the car if I'm actually behind the wheel as opposed to a steering wheel sitting in my basement with the laundry basket behind me. I'm with you on that. But I just thought that was interesting, man. I just think eSports, with this virus being what it is, we had to keep a close eye on it, in terms of entertainment. But I'm pretty much surmising that when the real sports, if and when the real sports do get back again anytime soon, that, we'll put eSports in the back seat for all of us who like the real deal, right? Got you. The number to call if you're up and around, you're out and about, you want to give us a shout is area code 267-687-0026. Once again, that number to call is area code 267-687-0026. All right. This next one, we've had discussion a time or two. But this time, we're going to add a little bit more detail. We're going to go a little bit more in depth. Courtesy of my man RB, who should have been done called in by now, but he didn't. That's fine. I know you're out there listening. And he's going to give me some yarn about, yeah, man, I couldn't get on, man. My tablet was upside down. Yeah, save it. But since you're out there listening, if I say anything wrong, RB, you know what I mean, you can always text me. I got the other phone here by me, so you can always text me, tell me I didn't say it right, and then you can tell me how you want me to say it. But as of right now, I'm just going to give the people how we've been doing. We've been going back and forth at the job, all right? Okay. Me and RB been going back and forth about this for 35 years, and I only know the man for 3. And like I said, we've had this discussion to some degree about measurables. Now, let me read to you all what RB has said. And these are his words. Now, he sent me the text, right? This is a spinoff of to some degree of what we talked about with the Allen Iverson and the Klay Thompson thing. RB tried to say, if you're drafting, and I think we might, did I say this last week? Because I don't remember. Probably because I don't want to remember. I tell you the truth. But would you draft a guy 6'5" because he's 6'5", the measurables, or would you draft a guy based on his modus operandi? And for all of you all out there who are not sure what modus operandi is, or the definition of measurables, let me give you those right quick before I go any further. Modus operandi defined someone's habits of working, how you do things. The measurables are defined as, or can be defined as, something that can be quantified, in particular or especially a sports player's height and weight. So, RB said, if I'm drafting and I got a guy that's 6'5", I'm taking a guy 6'5". I said, that's the only reason why you're going to draft a guy? Because he's 6'5"? Yeah, absolutely. The measurables. I said, okay, fine. I said, but if I'm drafting a guy, I'm drafting a guy on his modus operandi, or what he can do, more so than anything. So I asked this question, then I'll read to you what RB said when we went about in the text and so on and so forth. Is it the player's measurables that makes him who we all know him to be, or again, is it the modus operandi? Brother Rich.
You're asking me, am I choosing the 6'5" measurables or the player modus operandi? Is that my choice here?
Yes. I
have many examples. I want to be clear because I got many examples. And the first one that comes to mind is Todd Marinovich.
Okay.
Which, if anybody's listening, the people know that this was a young protege quarterback who had all the quote-unquote measurables. There have been many since then that had the measurables, but they didn't have the heart to go with that. You got players that have the measurables on every spectrum of sports. They don't have the modus operandi. They don't have the same engine to go with that, to back that up. So measurables don't mean anything to me. A person, you can play with players that know how to make the right chest pass, how to make the right move, how to shoot the jump shot properly. And they may have 10 points, 11 assists, 12 this, 4 steals, and that's a great player. They have a great career. But that person does not. So they measurables. You said, hey, that guy's a great player. He had a great game. But then you have the Kobe will shoot 75 shots, and somebody will say, look, he shot 75 shots, and he only made 15. But you didn't factor in the fact that the 15 he made was in the last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter when the team was down, and he had so much confidence that after missing 60 in a row, he kept shooting, and he made 14, 15, 16 in a row, and we won the game. Give me that guy over that guy you're telling me does everything correctly and it lines up in every measurable.
Gotcha.
Any day of the week.
Okay, Mr. Williams, we're going to come to you next. But before you respond, and then we'll get to you, of course, Double J. Let me read to you. This is the text, all right? I'm going to go through the thread a little bit that RB sent me. Let me say what I said first. I said one of next week's topics is eSports, its origins, impact, is it the future, etc. RB responds, are we going to discuss the topic of measurables? Before I could even respond back, he hit me. Another text came through. He said, and I quote, if Kobe or Mike would have been 6 feet instead of 6'6", or whatever they were, or listed as, they would be the same players. And then vice versa, he said if Muggsy and Spud was 6'5", what kind of players would they have become? So he's saying what made Mike and what made Kobe is the fact that they were taller than most guys, or they were 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", or whatever they were. Do you agree with that, Mr. Williams? Hold on, Brother Rich.
Yeah, I have to agree with that, because if you got a 6-foot Jordan, that player might not even be drafted to the second round. That's just my opinion.
Okay, that's fine.
That 6'6" size, and his skill set is what made him who he was. Now you can't have a 5'11" Michael Jordan. I mean, this is be real. Who would that player be? He wouldn't be the player that we know as the greatest player ever.
Yeah.
Right. He'd be an AI.
And see, that's what I was trying to point out to RB. I'm not discounting a guy's height or a guy's weight, but like to Brother Richard's point, somewhat. To when I say measurables, whenever I'm talking sports, not whenever, a lot of times I'm talking sports with a lot of dudes, the first thing that everybody want to point out is how tall a guy is. And I'm like, that may be the first thing you see, but that's not the only thing that should be determining whether or not. How many times have we been at the park and we picked a guy that had all the Nike gear on and didn't pick the guy who wearing his little cousin's tennis shoes? But the guy who wearing his little cousin's tennis shoes is the guy who busting everybody ass. But the guy who got the Nike gear on, the measurables, he can't hit a bull in the backside with a shovel with his jump shot. You get what I'm trying to say? Right. Because a lot of times the measurables we go.
I just got his mom to buy him all that stuff.
Right. See, a lot of times the measurables we go off what we see, but what we see ain't always what is. So we have to. So what I was trying to tell.
I got a perfect example. I'm not to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
A perfect example.
Go ahead.
I grew up. I don't know if you guys remember Eric Riley. I grew up with him.
Yeah.
Michigan.
Yeah, Eric Riley.
Right?
Went to St. Joe's.
Now, as a child. Yeah, went to St. Joe's, right.
With Treg Lee and
we be playing ball.
With Treg Lee and them. But go ahead. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, with Treg Lee and them.
Yeah.
Now Eric Riley would walk to the court, and anybody who know Eric Riley, you'll look at him like, okay, give me him.
Yeah.
Eric Riley got in that game after about 2 minutes. You said, get him out of here.
Okay.
Terrible. All elbows and knees. So like you said, the measurables, it's all on what's inside also.
Oh, my gosh, man, I wish. Okay, so RB. So you be cracking his head, too, then? Okay.
Oh, yeah, me and RB, we used to work together for years down there.
Okay, good. Yeah. He probably glad you ain't down there no more, you know what I'm saying? So his head could heal, so the wounds could heal. But that's okay. I picked up from where you left off. I cracked the other side. You know what I'm saying? Now he walking around there with 2 gauze bandages. But what I'm saying is, see, he real crafty with his wordsmanship too. He real crafty. He real crafty. Hold on, we got another caller here. Let's see what this is. It's good stuff, by the way, fellas. Caller, can you tell us what your name is and where you're calling from?
Yo, you know who it is. It's Doc coming all the way from Canton, baby.
Doc, what it do, Doc? I mean, I don't always recognize the number. This software that I use, it'll give me the number, but not necessarily the name. That's why I got to ask. Doc, what it do, son?
Yeah, it's all good. Nothing much, man. You all right?
Yes.
Enjoying this good quarantine?
Yeah. I got me some quarantine juice over here, baby. Some vitamin C and some black seed oil. I'm over here lit. No,
yeah.
and then we got another caller here on the line. Caller, can you tell us what your name is and where you're calling from?
This RB from Wisconsin.
Hot diggity dog. I knew it. Cheesehead. Okay. What's up, Robert Curtis?
I hear that foolishness that you're talking on the radio.
Foolishness? How's it foolishness?
Foolishness.
Okay, well, hold on. We got to let Double J and Doc weigh in on this, but let me finish my thought here, please, and I'll let you all get to it. I said height is definitely. I said for me, I'm looking at. If I'm going to draft, if I'm a GM or a coach and I'm responsible for drafting a player to my team, what I'm looking for first is does he understand, like depending on the position. When we started this, we were talking about point guards and ball handlers. Okay, if I'm looking for a ball handler, regardless of his name, I want to know, does he understand what to do in certain situations? Because a situation in the first quarter of a game going to be different than the situation in the fourth quarter of a game. And then the game itself is going to be a part of the situation. Is it game one of the finals, or is it game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals, or whatever the case may be? You understand what I'm trying to say? So it could be it's different situations. That's what I'm looking at a guy for first. Now, when I see that the guy can do that, okay, them checking them boxes off. And then if the guy happens to be 6'5" or 6'7", that to me is the bonus. That's not the front or the primary, and then the other stuff, the secondary. His ability and what he can do is the primary for me. His height is then thus secondary. So let me finish. RB, do you want me to read what you said, or do I have to? Or you want me to? Did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I read?
Yeah, I was hearing pieces of what you had said, but our original argument started with Zion and John Morant, and we was damn drafting. You leaving everything out. You just going and diving into a whole nother topic.
Nah.
And it initially started with Zion and John Morant, and if he was drafting at the gym, who would you take? You took John Morant first, and I took Zion, and I said I'm going by the Measureables because Zion is bigger, stronger, faster. You went into John Morant saying he was a 5'2" player, and I said, well, if you're a GM, you getting fired because everybody's taking Zion Williamson based on his measurables.
Okay.
The same amount of skill set. So you leaving a lot of that out.
Oh no.
When we discussed.
No.
You leaving a lot out.
No. I'm reading.
You leaving a lot of it out.
I'm reading the
conversation.
I'm reading the text that you sent me.
We went sport by sport.
I'm reading the text that you sent me.
Basketball and football at work.
I'm reading the text that you sent me. I asked you, did you want me to? I told you I was going to read from the text. You said, "Are we going to discuss the topic of measurables?"
That's that part. You said about Jordan and Kobe being 6 feet instead of 6'6". Well, yeah, that's how we got into the whole topic at work. We would start arguing. I said they wouldn't be the same player. They wouldn't. And Muggsy and Spud would be different players.
Okay, so they wouldn't be the same players because of their height. But Allen Iverson is your favorite player.
Absolutely. With the same skill set, Allen Iverson would be a totally different player.
Now see,
he would be a different player.
No, you adding skill set in now.
He's gonna be a different player.
You ain't say nothing about the skill set in the beginning.
What are we talking about?
You ain't say that.
Absolutely.
You said if I'm drafting the guy, I'm taking the guy off his measurables.
6'7", he would be the same. No. You tried to twist it. No, you know what we had a conversation.
No.
Allen Iverson was 6'7". He's still Allen Iverson. He's a different player. He's even better than the Allen Iverson that we know today.
So wait a minute. So whoa. So then what would make you say then that no NBA point guard other than Isaiah Thomas won an NBA championship where he was the main guy at 6 feet? And then I said Steph Curry.
That proved my point. Steph Curry is 6'3", 6'4", and he's still one of the best players on his team. That was Kevin Durant.
Before Kevin Durant.
We already talked about this. What are you talking about?
Before Kevin Durant. You said no other player that was 6 feet or close to 6 feet had led a team or been the guy on the team, and that team won a championship, other than Isaiah Thomas.
That's it.
And then I said Steph Curry. And you said Iguodala won Finals MVP.
That's right, because he was the best player in that series.
Okay, so then explain to me then how in 1989 Joe Dumars won Finals MVP, but Isaiah was on that team.
Isaiah's the best player on that team.
Hang on, can I answer that?
Yeah.
And
please, because the point is about
don't forget the passing, just the passing of Dumars' father, if that had any impact on that notion there specifically.
Maybe, but to his what I'm trying to understand from him, and Doc, I'll let you weigh in here in a second. What I'm trying to understand is, at the end of the day, just like Mr. Williams just said about Eric Riley, and RB said the same thing. I'm drafting a guy because you keep saying 6'5", 6'6", 6'5", 6'6", then that means that a guy's height carries a whole lot of weight. Or do we carry all the weight? it carried far more weight than his skill set if that's what you drafted him on, the measurables. If you drafting the guy on his measurables, then it's his measurables that you drafted him on that matters the most. You ain't saying nothing about skill set. I said I'm drafting the guy on what he can do as opposed to how tall or how short he is. You said that them guys, if they ain't this tall, then they ain't who they are. And I'm saying that you go throughout the annals of the NBA, whether they won a championship or not, if what you're saying is true, then every player who ever played in the NBA should be 6'5" or above. If it's the measurables. Because you can measure, like in baseball, you can measure how fast a pitcher can hit miles per hour on the radar gun. Aroldis Chapman can hit 100. But that don't make him a pitcher. Scott Zolak was a quarterback for the New England Patriots. Had a cannon for an arm. But he kept hitting the lady in the first row. What good are your measurables if you can't locate or if you don't understand situation? Being 6'5" ain't going to help you with your team. We in the bonus with 2 minutes and 38 seconds left in the fourth quarter of Game 7, and you taking ill-advised threes. Your shot selection, game decisions in crucial situations ain't got nothing to do with how tall or how short you are. A lot of cases, and I'm sure we could find some, where a guy who got drafted because he was 6'9" ended up not being what he should have been, Kwame Brown, and that GM got fired too. You can get fired for drafting the guy because he's tall as opposed to what he can do. That's all I'm saying. Doc, you want to weigh in on this?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'm looking for your talent and your drive. You know what I mean? I want to see if you got that killer instinct. I want to see what you're going to do. If you're coming down the court on a fast break, do you have an eye? Can you hit the open guy? Are you willing to be the guy that say, hey, look, I know we down one with this many seconds on the clock, give me the ball? Are you going to be that guy? I'd rather have a 6'1" lion than a 6'6", 6'7" soft. You know what I mean? I'm looking at skill set. Height don't always mean anything.
That's all I said.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Can I weigh in on one thing y'all said, though?
Go ahead. That's Mr. Williams speaking. Go ahead.
There is no GM in the NBA who would have took John Morant over Zion Williamson. I'm just saying.
No. And
if they did, they might be out of a job.
Hey, listen, RB said the same thing. Brother Rich and Double J have been roasting me because I initially was not. I didn't say Zion was good, but I can only speak to what I see or what I saw. And just a little bit of revisionist history right quick. I only saw Zion twice. All right? Due to my work schedule, I couldn't sit down and watch hoop games like I used to. But my sons both played hoop. And my oldest son, he's 18 now, he keep me up to date on, on who's who and who ain't who and so on and so forth, right? This new crop of ballers, if you would. So he came to me one day, and he was like, Dad, you got to see Zion. Zion is a beast. This. So I said, all right, well, now, call me old school, old fool, or whatever you want to call me, but it used to be a standard when we was growing up, right? If a guy was said to be that guy, and everybody come up to the rucker and check him out, then you better make it worth my time checking him out. So they played Eastern Michigan. Duke did. And I said, oh, okay. I said, oh, all right. I said, Khalil, I said, Eastern Michigan, you know, I'm expecting that's Duke, that's Eastern Michigan. I mean, come on, man, what you going to do? You know what I'm trying to say? You know. So then the following week or one couple Saturdays after that, Duke was playing Gonzaga. I said, oh. And for the first time, really getting time to sit down, and I had a chance to sit down and watch him play. I said, okay, I'm about to see what everybody's talking about. Because he was on everybody's lips, and rightfully so. So I'm watching him against Hachimura, and I'm saying to myself, I tell my son, I said, man, this is the guy you was telling me about, right? Now he playing against better competition. This the guy you was telling me about? He said, yeah, I don't understand it, man. because I didn't know who Hachimura was, but I knew who he was after that game. I said, Khalil, your dude got athleticism. He jumping out the gym. He doing the whole 9. And he got a high ceiling and he got all of that. I said, I want to see him hit the free throws. I want to see him hit consistent jump shots. I don't see none of that. Meanwhile, on the other side, I see Ja Morant looking like he'd already been in the NBA, playing like he'd already been in the NBA. Y'all seen this tournament run at Murray State? Do you mean to tell me, and I'm with you, Mr. Williams, I'm with you all day, every day, especially the way it look now, but you mean to tell me that the GM that had it took Ja Morant first would have got what's the GM for the Pelicans that ended up getting ousted anyway? Will Demps or whatever his name. They would have got the Demps treatment. They would have been gone, huh?
Yeah, I think they would have been out. This is for the simple fact. I understand where you're coming from, but you got to look at Zion Williamson. He putting butts in the seats, and that's part of the job. You got to please those fans also.
That's fair.
I know what you're saying from the basketball end.
That's fair too. That's fair too. Yeah,
right,
and
but you cannot pass on that. That's box office. You can't pass on that.
Got you. Because now it's other mitigating factors or other factors outside of the court that make his presence more present, if that makes any sense. Double J, what say you?
Well, I mean, my take on this is it's very difficult to have a singular kind of tunnel vision with either of these. I've always believed it's a combination of the two. There's so many classic examples across the board of undersized players. You listed a few. I mean, look at Barry Sanders as one. He wasn't, as big as Bo Jackson, not even close. And on the other hand, you have guys like in more recent times, somebody like the gentleman who played receiver for Cleveland for a few years and kept getting in trouble with smoking. So, or even look at
Josh Gordon,
look
yeah.
at J.R. Smith in his decision making. So, it's
I'm getting background noise, fellas.
Just a couple circumstances here with kind of, in my opinion, a player's value is his contribution to his team, not just on based upon his on-field performance or on court, but just in kind of a neutral context. What are you going to bring to the table? And again, that's a combination of decision making, so intellect as well as your physical assets.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I can get with that. I can get with that all day. Doc, what say you?
What was the question here? Are we going on the Ja Morant getting picked over?
Yeah, it's still sort of like a combination of the two. The measurables whole thing or whatnot.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say that's what I was on too. I was going to say about that. It also came down to team needs as well, because it's like the Pelicans didn't necessarily need a point guard as bad as they needed that power forward in Zion Williamson. You know what I mean? They actually move players around to get him. So I mean, I don't think it would have made sense for them to get Ja Morant, regardless of size and all of that.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought too. Again, I'm not. Look, I went on this. I'm on record for saying that once Zion got with the Pelicans, and after a few games, what I saw then was a totally different from what I saw when I watched him when he was with at Duke or whatnot. You know what I mean? At the time, I'm thinking Cam Reddish was the better of the three, because who was the other guy? It was the trio. R.J. Barrett. And R.J. Barrett was getting a little bit more pub, I guess, from folks than Zion at time or two. I guess depending on who you talk to or whatnot. But then when I saw Zion with the Pelicans, and it was more than a few games. It was quite a few games. I could see immediately, as a purist, I like to call myself. I'm saying, man, this dude, what he brings to that, they feed off of him, them other guys. So you can't undermine that. You can't underscore that either. You get what I'm trying to say? And he looked totally different than when he was at Duke, which made me say to myself, I said, I wonder if at all, Mike Krzyzewski had a lid on him to some degree, not wanting to mess up his draft stock to some degree. And if he did, that's a good thing. And we've seen that. Well, growing up, we've seen that. I saw that a lot. You know, especially Dean Smith at North Carolina. You know, he would put a lid on. He didn't really have a lid on Jordan, but he kind of sort of did. You know, you go back, listen to some of them former North Carolina players under him, you know, because, you know, you had to wait your turn, so to speak. That's how it was across the board, though. I ain't going to even lie. High school or not, you know what I mean? Even if you was good as a freshman, if the guy in front of you was a sophomore, then you had to wait your turn, so to speak. You know what I mean? But nowadays, I would like to think if the best guy can play, the best guy can play. But I'm wondering if Krzyzewski, if I'm saying that right, did have a lid on Zion to some degree. I wonder if it's because the knock on Krzyzewski throughout the years has been, unless you was exceptional like Grant Hill or maybe Elton Brand, I guess, that he ran his players into the ground. That's why when going to the next level, a lot of Duke players didn't have the career success in the NBA as they did in college because Krzyzewski had wore them out, so to speak. And I'm wondering, even though if he said, no, I'm not going to do Zion like that. And if that's the case, so be it. You know what I mean? But I think at the end of the day, my case was not – the case I was making was not necessarily against Zion. And if you want to say it was for Ja, yeah, it was for Ja, in that when is the last time we saw a point guard come from the collegiate ranks and have the immediate impact in the league that he didn't have? I'm talking about a point guard, a floor general. When is the last time we seen
Lillard.
Who? Who'd you say, Double J?
Game time.
Who was Hang Time?
Damian Lillard.
Oh, my gosh.
Dame time.
Dame time. Oh, okay. You think Dame is a complete point guard?
No, you asked about impact. He had impact the moment he landed in Portland.
Oh, okay, got you. All right, yeah. Okay, got you. Dame. All right. All right. All right. As a rookie?
I'll go stat hunt for you right now.
Okay. I mean, I don't know.
As far as impact, you mean like true point guard? You got to go back to Chris Paul and Darren Williams.
That's what I'm. That's
point guard.
That's what I'm saying. Point guard. Because here's the deal, and I love Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook, you know what he might not be. I don't know what's wrong with his mind at times or whatnot. I don't know. But he's such a competitor that I think he get in his own way at times. But he plays a point guard position. But do you see him in the same facet that you would of Chris Paul? And I'm not talking about ability. I'm talking about understanding of. Because how many guys have we watched in this, what I call the Today BA, that play that position? Number one, this new era of basketball is supposed to be positionless. Supposed to be. But yet and still, I see all of these Mount Rushmores about who the top point guards and so on and so forth. So I'm trying to figure out, is it positionless or is it position? Well, I make up my mind. That's number one. Number two, when I say point guard, I'm talking about a guy who hit all your check marks when it comes to the game itself in the fabric, your free throws. You know what I'm saying? Is he a good rebounding guard? You know, your three-pointers, your mid-range, that kind of stuff. But then there's the other stuff that you can't quantify. That, to me, weighs more.
Hold on. What did you call it? The Today BA? That what you said?
Yeah, the Today BA.
This barbershop, Jay?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I just called in because RB told me to call. This Big Chris.
What's
Facebook.
up? What's up, man? I didn't even know I was
What's
talking.
going on?
What's
I had
up?
no idea. I really didn't.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Crazy.
It's
When
all
you said that, I'm like, wait a minute. I know that phrase.
Yeah. Yeah, what's up, man? It's all to the GO. Yes, sir.
What's
yes,
going
sir.
on?
It's all good. See what I'm saying? Yeah, RB. Yeah. RB, you still with us? You over there with your brown jammers with the feet in them. What's going on? You all right? You good over there? RB.
Yeah. I'm in the coronavirus plant right now.
Are you serious, man? what are you doing? Do you got your mask on?
Yeah, I got my mask on. I got my hazmat suit on. But, yeah, I'm in the building.
Man, that dude. Man, it could be 500 feet of snow. And guess who's going to be there before you get there? Him. Hey, get that bread, man.
Easy.
Get that bread. But, yeah, man, when I say floor general, if you watch the Today BA, offensively, if nothing else, you got all these great players, and they're great, they're talented. Nobody's arguing that. But I'm wondering why, if these players are so great, why do we see so many bad possessions? Somebody explain that to me, please. And I know for a fact, since the real stuff ain't here, they've been showing a lot of old school games. The 88 Eastern Conference semifinals with the Celtics and the Hawks with Dominique and Bird was going at each other. You seeing stuff in the game we grew up in that you don't see now. Guys picking other guys up in the backcourt. Big Chris, I asked Brother Rich this one time.
Because Jay, you never want to hear that. You never want to hear this answer to that. Because those players were coached. They had coaches then. They were not 29-year-old multi-trillionaires who could sit on their couch and play video games and get everybody to watch them and then be emotionally fragile that a coach can't tell them anything. Those players were coached. Those players had to learn the game from the fundamentals. Those players, that's why if you remember that era of basketball, Dr. J was the first quote-unquote playground legend to make it to the NBA because they weren't into playground legends. They wanted people to learn the game fundamentally sound. You had fundamentally sound teams and players. Magic Johnson was a fundamentally sound basketball player. Larry Bird was a fundamentally sound basketball player. Michael Jordan was a fundamentally sound basketball player. These were fundamentally sound basketball players. They were coached that way.
Because so were we growing up. You know what I mean? But what part, though, I still don't understand. What part? So when we talk about Kobe, rest in peace.
But as players in the game, that's coaching. Individually, certain players stand out because they have more heart than the other players. But as a team, that's why we can point to the Pistons. As a team, Double J can talk about them as a team that won during that Richard Jefferson time because they show as a team, not as a team of individuals, a group of individuals. They were an actual team. Well, some people say Kobe wasn't a team player, but I tell you that when he won with Paul Gasol, Lamar Odom, when he won with Bynum, they were a team, and he stood out as the best player. But they were coached because we had Phil Jackson.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna knock it because I had coaching too growing up. It used to be across the board. Whatever you saw in the league when we was growing up, that was what you saw being played at the parks or whatnot. But I'll say this to you too, though. And I'm not saying guys got to do it, but it was the I don't like you, you don't like me element, and I'm going to show you why. Like that exhibition game with Bird and Dr. J got to scrapping. They was like we said it before, they were sending each other a message, letting each other know I'm just letting you know right here and right now before anything get started off real good in the season. In the preseason, I'm letting you know if we see each other in the playoffs, what it's gonna be. Guys don't follow their shots no more. Right. You understand what I'm trying to say? Everything is a contested shot now. You know what I mean? Ain't no ball movement. You know what I mean? It's feast or famine from the three.
But Jay, what coach in the league can say to a player, hey, follow that shot? What coach in the league can do that right now? Coach. Alvin Gentry can barely do that. Somebody's telling him from upstairs what to do and what to say and how many minutes to play this player. So that's him on that level. And if it's the Lakers, we know who coached that team. Come on, man.
Yeah, but that's why.
If it's the Knicks, they're coached by the owner. If it's the Dallas Mavericks, maybe they get to be coached. The only team that's really being coached by their coach is San Antonio Spurs.
Oh, yeah, well, that's my point about Ja Morant, though. when I'm watching him at Murray State, I'm like, okay, this dude is all the way different. It's just something to be said about a cat who got the ball in his hands, man, late in the game. Because I use the football analogy all the time. You could be a wide receiver.
Pull the tape on John Moran on this show.
You could be a wide receiver. There's no need. I am the tape. You could be a wide receiver in football, man, and have 15 catches for 365,000 yards and 27 touchdowns through 3 quarters. But then it's going to be a situation where they're going to need you to be Dennis Northcutt. And that's all they're going to remember is he dropped the one to win the game. Who was the guy for the Ravens?
Oh, they're gonna need you to make a block.
Oh, they're gonna need
you gonna look like Webster Slaughter.
Oh, don't kill Webster like that. Ah. Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
You know I gotta say it.
Yeah, I know. Shoot, he did it. He said he killed Webster. Yeah, because you talking about on the fumble.
Right.
That was Webster's because Jeremiah Castillo should have never got through there. But, Bynum did carry the ball like a loaf of bread at times. But I'm with you, though.
He did, but you make that block, that's a touchdown all day.
That's a touchdown all day. No, I can't argue with you. Yeah. Yeah. I just, again, man, he was refreshing to see at that position. Because for the most part, now I ain't seen him in the playoffs yet, so that's still to be seen. But for the most part, before this season tailed off and came to an abrupt halt, that dude he just understood tempo. And a lot of guys who play the position, even though it's positionless, they just don't, man. I see guys, and then tell me again, where would you see offenses in our era where a guy could roll the ball up the floor, man, and walk beside it? Almost the length of the court, the ball will roll before the guy pick it up. After it done cross half court, then the defense want to engage. That's just mind-boggling to me, man.
That's crazy.
That's just mind-boggling to me, man. But
I love John Morant game. Don't get me wrong, though.
What you say, Mr. Williams? You say you love his game, though, huh?
I love his game. I mean, like I always say, and RB will tell you this. I'm like one of Kyrie Irving's biggest critics. I feel like he never evolved. Like he's the same player when he came in the league.
Okay.
Now, if I had to take a choice between Kyrie and John Morant, you give me John Morant all day.
Okay. I done heard that before, too. Somebody else was getting ready to say something. I couldn't catch the voice right quick. Is that you, RB?
No, that wasn't me.
No? What about you? Was that you, Doc? I got a few of y'all on the line right here. I'm sorry. Am I taking over the show today?
No, that wasn't me.
No? Am I taking over the show?
Your thing, Claire.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to, I don't want to drown nobody out here. You know what I'm saying? This is a live platform. We are here live. Oh, let me throw the call number out there again, too, right quick for the folks out there that might be listening that's not in the studio with me today. That number to call is area code 267-687-0026. Did I say that right? 267-687-0026. Yeah, so back to the measurables and whatnot. At the end of the day, I love a guy who's 6'7". But if a guy's 6'7", and how he's doing or his style of play is hurting me more than it is helping me, then I'm going to need you to sit your talk right here next to me. I'm going to need you to sit right here next to me. That's what I'm going to need you to do. And be like, AI, you ready? What up, coach? You up. Go on in there and get me 80. You know what I'm saying? Go get him, AI. Go eat, baby. Come on, man. AI is, when you talk about, special player, give me AI. I'll take AI at 6 feet over a lot of guys who was 6'10". Because at the end of the day, guys play either bigger than their size or smaller than their size. And we done seen a lot of guys who got the size play smaller than their size too many times. I mean, it goes back to the old adage. It ain't the size of the dog or something or another. Somebody want to finish that for me? Yeah, it's the size of what's inside the dog. You know what I mean? That matter most. You know what I mean? Yeah.
The size of the dog.
You know what I'm saying? So, that's what I grew up on. You know what I mean? And I done seen that happen, then played out in front of my eyes too many times. Yeah, I seen guys, man, You know what I mean? You know, they stay in the gym. Little Joe Weeders. You know what I mean? Can't even fit a shirt right. Then walk up to the little guy and snatch his bag of popcorn or something. Then next thing you know, the little guy got the big guy. He whooping on him real bad in the street. You know, somebody got to pull the little guy off the big guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, dude, what happened? You got all these muscles. What happened? You know what I'm saying? Then you know me. I go to holler at my boy RB. RB, let me get the measuring tape. Then I go back over there to the dude and get to measuring his muscles. Like, dang, man, you were 28 around the arms. What happened? You know what I'm saying? And little dudes, man, I wasn't having it today, son. I believe you. I believe you, kid. I believe you. So I ain't mad. Yeah, I'll take Jason Kidd. You know what I mean? Of course. But I would take Jason Kidd not because and I don't know how tall Jason Kidd was. What was he, 6'5", 6'6", 6'4" at least, wasn't he? Somebody?
6'4" at least.
Yeah, 6'4" at least. But what drew me into Jason Kidd at California? His passing ability. I'm like, dag, man, I thought Magic would be the only dude I saw who could pass to a dude before the dude even came into the picture. Oh, okay. Now, he ain't have a jump shot. That's another thing that bothered me about all these point guards. They're supposed to be point guards, but they can't, Rondos and all of them. Rondo a floor general. You know what I mean? He a floor general, minus the jump shot. I just don't understand how you're an NBA player at that position. That's what I mean, your measurables or not. When defense sag off you,
I mean,
go ahead, Doc. Go ahead.
I was going to say, look at Ben Simmons.
I don't even know why I didn't think of him.
Jumper. I mean, come on now.
Oh, my gosh.
Look at Ben Simmons.
Oh, my goodness. And right now,
he got everything you need but a jump shot.
Hello.
Whose fault is that?
His, because he's not working on it. He needs to be in the gym working on that jump shot.
Correct. And who says to Ben Simmons when he comes from Australia, where he's dominating in Australia because he's obviously superiorly talented, he doesn't have the kind of coaching in Australia. And then when he comes to college in LSU, he's not getting real coaching. When he goes to Philadelphia, he's not. No, this is the truth. Somebody has to take that young man and say, look, you have all the measurables. Look, let's go and talk of what did Phil Jackson bring to a team? He took a Michael Jordan that had all the skill sets and said, look, Mike, if you want to win championships, you can win scoring titles, you can do this. But if you want to win championships, play like this, do this. Because he knew that Jordan had everything, and then Jordan continued to improve. He said, Mike, they say you can't shoot. Mike goes to the gym. He works on his jump shot every weekend for the whole summer. Then the next week, the summer, he works on something else. And he works on this because he was willing to be coached even though he had supreme skill set. That's what he got in Carolina, because he substituted his skill set for the greater good of the team because he was being coached. Who's coaching Ben? Show me. If you show me somebody he coached him, then I'll submit the argument that you're trying to give me. But you got to show me that somebody tried to coach him and he refused to be coached. Ben Simmons is a wonderful basketball player. He just doesn't understand some things about the game that he needs to get from coaching. If coaching doesn't have a value, why do we need him? What does a coach do? Why do coaches get fired? Why do we say a coach lost the team? Because the coach has a responsibility to be man enough to that player and say, look, you need to go work on this. You need to go work on that. And then we can see. We don't get footage of Ben Simmons working on his jump shot in the summertime because Ben Simmons is off hanging out with the Kardashians.
Okay, but Brother Rich, to your point.
That's true, but
to your point though, coaching. I never said that coaching was insignificant. But if I'm a professional basketball player, and I've been in the league at least 3 years, just like a kid who at some point goes from being a minor to legally an adult, even though you're not grown, at some point you got to accept accountability for your own deficiencies. Nobody.
Right.
I'd like to know what coach told Kyrie to go play Kobe one-on-one. I'd like to know what coach told Kevin Durant to go up to the Rucker. I'd like to know what coach told whoever to go and work with Hakeem or work with Tim Duncan. If I'm a player in the league and I'm Ben Simmons, All it would take for me is 1 year in the league for me to realize, okay, I need to work on my jump shot.
But
Okay.
Jay, you think you see Ben Simmons having the same kind of motor as Kyrie Irving? You're trying to tell me those are the same kind of players?
No, I'm
Or are
saying.
you saying? Oh, okay. Thank you.
No, I'm
Thank
not saying about motor. It's not about motor. It's about accountability. If I'm a professional at what I do, I can get away with early on as a rookie maybe not knowing. But this is Ben Simmons is what? You can lead a horse to water,
Jay.
But you can't make him.
but you can't make him drink.
Okay, but again, but if you're going to use that kind of parable, you got to show me somebody led him to water. Show me the coach that led him to water. Show me that he was coached by Larry Brown. Show me that he was coached by some coach that's worse. Show me that he was coached by the coach in Indiana. Show me that somebody that Mark Jackson coached him, or he was coached by Steve Kerr. Show me somebody tried to coach him.
But as
You're
a
not telling me anybody tried to coach him.
But as a player, I'm not going to leave with my. I'm not going to leave what I do all up to coaching.
You telling me?
Right.
You
As a
telling me
player.
you got drafted out of Australia? But listen to what we're talking about here. Listen to what we're talking about. We're not just talking about a player. We're talking about Ben Simmons that came from Australia under the wing of LeBron James, as a protege of LeBron James, with a skill set similar to LeBron James. And dare I say, a motor that runs about as hot as LeBron James. He happens to play in Philadelphia, and he's not as physically imposing in terms of what LeBron brings, but his skill set is similar, and he plays more of a Magic Johnson kind of set. He just don't have the kind of motor that we want him to have that would make him on his own go to the gym. So for that kind of player, he needs coaching, like Lamar Odom needed coaching.
Okay, so
and some players just need
okay, so
coaching.
listen. Okay, so what if the coach took Ben Simmons every day? In other words, a coach can only tell a player so much if a player when the coach is talking to
I
him.
would rest my case, and I would say I tap out to y'all. But neither one of you have said to me show me an example where somebody tried to coach him.
Well, how do we
Show
know?
me an
But
example where somebody tried to coach
but Brother
any
Rich,
one of these
okay,
young players.
how do you know Brett Brown ain't tried to coach him? But what I'm saying to you is, I don't need Brett Brown. If I miss two free,
Brown don't run the Philadelphia 76ers.
okay, but if I miss two
Brett
free
Brown
throws,
is-
if I miss two free
you
throws,
and I both know.
yeah, but Brother Rich, if I miss two free throws in a playoff game
Jay,
that
why
cost
do you
my
call
team
it the Today BA? Why do you call it
because of the
Jay,
style of play,
Why do you call it the Today BA?
the style of play, not the accountability. It's the style of play, not the accountability.
Who's responsible for style of play? Who's responsible for style of play? Who's responsible?
Listen, all of the guys now you're talking about you're talking about the 9/3 of the league now. You're talking about 9/3 of the league.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the league the way it is today. That's the way the league does not want. The league wants more of Showtime in every city. The league wants to focus on the brand. The players are focused on the brand. The players don't. They want to know. Okay, how do I look? What's on my Instagram feed? They don't want to hear nothing about I should go in the gym and work on my jump shots. And they don't want the coach to tell them nothing because then they'll just put out a hint that we want this coach out of here. Then
okay, well guess what?
So
guess what? You ain't got to go to the gym. You ain't got to go to the gym. When you miss two free throws in a playoff game, stay your ass right there and work on free throws then. You ain't got to go to a gym. You're already in one. The one you missed two free throws in. Because you're right. At some point.
Personal, I'm never going to argue with personal accountability. But we're talking about players who have coaches, who come up through the AAU, who've never really been coached, who've only been brought along because of their athletic talent and have been marketed from the time they were 15 years of age, and their game's on ESPN, and it's on this thing, and they got a program on Showtime, and they're being interviewed by this one, and they're on Fox doing this, and they're worrying about who's signing them next week, and they got a Nike shoot next week, and they gotta go to Tahiti with his girlfriend.
Right. Okay. But here's what I'm saying to you. Coaching is irrelevant when the coach. Hold on. If the coach wants it more for the player than the player wants it for himself, then what difference do it make who coaching him? The coach can, because you can't tell me that there ain't some coaches out there telling this dude you need to work on this or you need to do this. But listen, I can take you to the bathroom, young fella, but I ain't about to hold it for you. You see what I'm saying?
But Jay, wait, let me ask you a question. Hey Jay, let me ask you a question.
I'm listening.
Maybe it's the franchise itself. They're not building around Ben Simmons correctly. They're not working around his skill set.
Well, listen.
Fact.
Listen, that could be the case.
If you put shooters around Ben Simmons and let Ben Simmons do what he do, in regards of a jump shot, he's gonna be way more effective.
But let me take. Put
shooters around Ben Simmons.
But let me
be way more effective.
But let me say this to you: the key to what the problem with the Sixers are and what's going on with them right now, in my opinion, is more so Embiid is playing out of position because Ben Simmons don't even have a mid-range jump shot.
Who's responsible for that? Who's responsible for what you're saying? That's all I'm asking y'all to concede. Y'all trying to put it on these young players, and you won't concede.
I'm saying it's a combination of both.
You still call it to the NBA. Y'all won't. No.
So whoa.
That's all coaches.
Whoa, I'm not saying it's not coaching.
Gotta have accountability.
Thank you.
Accountability for their own game.
You got to have accountability for your own game. You mean to tell me as a
You gotta
grown
have accountability for your own game.
You mean to tell me as a grown man you're gonna blame another grown man for your shortcomings?
You all no, you're not dealing in the real world. I'm just asking
How?
you to deal in the real world for a second. That's coaching. That's why they have
because if Popovich coach Philadelphia, if you played a totally different way,
it's correct.
Okay,
Correct.
but listen,
Coaching,
but listen,
that's why we
but let me tell you, but
that's
listen.
That's why everybody knows.
Listen.
That look at the Clippers. Look at the Clippers.
Listen.
The Clippers are a coach team.
I'm not knocking. Listen, I'm not saying that coaching don't matter. What I'm saying to you is, it's not all that matters. The players have to have some accountability at some point. You can't be 30 years old and still.
They have to know.
You can't be 30 years old and still blaming your father for shit your father did when you was 5.
No, Jay. See, no, nobody's dismissing personal accountability. What we are trying to show you is
all of the blame for a player not being
these players' lot.
So all of the blame for a player not being able to hit a consistent jump shot is on the coaches.
Everybody is Kobe. So I get it. I get it. Where I'm mistaken it here is you really believe everybody is Kobe. You don't believe Kobe.
No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. I think everybody should be able to hit. I think everybody should be able to hit above 60% from the free throw line. You talking about Kobe? That's in a different stratosphere. I'm talking about if you're a professional.
Okay.
If you're a professional at what you do, if you're a professional plumber, and you come to my house because I got a plumbing problem, you can't even tell me you don't know what the fuck a plunger is. That's a basic requirement of the fucking job. Hitting free throws is a basic requirement of the job. If it take another man and you 3 years in the league to keep telling you to go in the gym, then who is on at that point? I'm not knocking coaching. What I'm saying is this. I'm using the analogy. I'm using the everyday analogy. I'm saying this. As a parent, we are responsible for our children because they're called what? Minors. But when they turn 18 and they mamas try to run out there because the police is, God forbid, in the front yard with their sons, what the police going to tell the mama? Ma'am, go back in the house. See what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, that don't mean that the 18-year-old got 18-year-old worth of life lessons. Of course not. You got to get your 40s and your 50s, hopefully. But at 18, legally, you an adult. At some point, Ben Simmons been in the league long enough that you can't keep blaming coaching because he can't hit a jump shot. And that Ben Simmons that Embiid got to camped out on the three-point line because he can't go down there and play in the paint because Ben can't hit a jump shot. Same thing with Rondo.
That's coaching.
Man, come on, man. Okay, so let me ask you this. Hold on, let me ask you this. So if Ben Simmons is in the league for 10 years and he still ain't got a jump shot, you going to still blame the coaching? Man, stop it.
That player got to be accountable.
Man, stop it, man. Come on, man.
Period.
Come on, man.
But you got to build around Ben Simmons. Just like you build around LeBron, you build around Ben Simmons' skill set.
But at some point, the game is going to make the game, just like life, the game is going to call you out. The game is going to put you at the free throw line, LeBron. The game is going to put you at the free throw line, Ben Simmons. Your coach can't cover up for you. It's going at some point the game's going to say it's on you, just like life. life is going to say, guess what? Your mother ain't here, your father ain't here. It's on you. Now, what you going to do? Because at the end of the day, we all got choices. My choices and the responsibility of don't fall on Brother Rich. It don't fall on Mr. Williams. It don't fall on RB. It don't fall on Double J. And it don't fall on Doc. At some point, my choices fall on me. Come on, man. Stop it. Ben Simmons been in the league long enough that you can't keep blaming coaching solely for him not being able to hit a consistent jump shot. That's why the Sixers don't look like the Sixers is supposed to be. Trust the process.
That's a cop-out. You can't.
A prime example would be Mark Jackson and Steve Kerr. He couldn't get him over the hump. You needed a better coach to coach that team to get him over the hump.
But that ain't got nothing to do with Steph Curry being a jump shooter. They ain't got nothing. They ain't got nothing to do with Klay Thompson being. Man, stop it, man. Come on, man. Cut me in and cut it out, man. Stop.
Big part in it.
Stop. Listen. You taking what I'm saying about the player accountability as if though the coach.
Come on now.
I'm not saying that.
Coaching plays a big part in it.
Listen, did you hear me one time say coaching didn't play a part? Did you hear me say that? Tell me where I said coaching don't play a part.
We talking about Ben Simmons and Embiid.
Okay.
Different coach in there. They're a different ball club, Jay.
Listen.
They're a different ball club, Jay. Come on now.
Listen. Greg Popovich is known to be the player's coach and the coach, right? Has Greg Popovich won every one of his freaking games that he ever played? Since it's all about coaching, how come when we had these conversations about who the GOAT, how come we don't mention Greg Popovich? Come on, man. Make up my mind.
Went to the playoffs, 23 straight years this team went to the playoffs.
I don't care how many times this team went to the playoffs. When we talking about GOATs and who the GOAT is and who their top 5 is, how come Greg Popovich ain't on the Mount Rushmore next to Jordan? Exactly. Because we look at the players. Man, cut me in and cut it out, man.
We're not talking about coaches and players is totally something totally separate.
Listen. Okay, listen.
Much more coaches.
Wait a minute.
Popovich is on there.
Listen, you missing what I'm saying.
He on there.
You missing what I'm saying. If a Ben Simmons not being able to hit a jump shot at this point in his career in the league, if we're going to blame coaching, then why do we talk about the players and what they do, period? Why are we not having a conversation about the coaches since the coaches?
But Jay, here's the thing. I don't know that I heard anybody say, and I certainly am not saying this, that personal responsibility doesn't matter. Everybody say, I think that everybody agrees that we're all individuals, we're all human beings, we all mature. We know that there's personal responsibility, but here's what we're talking about.
But that's not what we're mentioning.
We're talking about, that is what we're mentioning because you mentioned it. So here's what I'm saying. What I don't hear you giving enough credence to is this, and this is all I'm asking you. I'm done with it after this. Is this. As it relates to the player that we're talking about, Ben Simmons, that's what we're talking about, and the Philadelphia 76ers, we are making the point. Some of us are attempting to make the point to you that players like Ben Simmons, the way they come up in the league, prior to coming to the NBA, going to college, the system that supports them, the lifeblood that supports them, uses and abuses them, never invests in them in terms of their development, takes advantage of their raw stock, brings them to the professional level, raw talent. By the time they get to the professional level, they're already a superstar. They're bigger than any coach, probably bigger than most people around them on the team. So they're already thrust into the limelight, never really developing, and no coach can really tell them anything. And unless they get with a good coach, unless they get with one of these coaches that we know and respect as good fundamental basketball minds, that person may or may not use them correctly. And in this case, we're saying that Ben Simmons is an example of a player that had he been coached, he would be a better player. And we're saying that team, had they had a better coach like a Phil Jackson, like a Doc Rivers, like a Larry Brown, they're a better team because even Allen Iverson, I didn't like to practice himself, said that Larry Brown was a fantastic coach.
But Larry Brown didn't make Allen Iverson. Larry Brown did not make Allen Iverson. Larry Brown did not make Allen Iverson.
There it is.
Larry Brown did not make Allen Iverson. How many more times do you want me to say it? Larry Brown did not make Allen Iverson. Larry Brown did not make Allen. Listen, Allen Iverson was the #1 high school football and basketball player in the country. No other player can make that claim.
That ain't got nothing to do with the pros.
Listen. I'm not all over the place. What I'm saying to you is, listen, what I'm saying to you is, whatever Larry Brown gave to Allen Iverson, it didn't have nothing to do with him not being able to hit a jump shot. What Larry Brown gave to Allen Iverson, since we're gonna play like Jay don't know what he's talking about, let me hit you with this. Phil Jackson was not the coach that folks think that he was for Michael Jordan, Kobe, or Shaq. Tex Winter was. When you talk about doing X, Y, and Z and getting in the gym, you know what Phil was good at? Egos.
Tex Winter's still a coach, Jay. Tex Winter's a coach.
But who get the credit? Phil Jackson getting the credit.
No, you can't flip-flop.
I'm not, man, come on, man. Stop saying I'm flip-flopping, man, when I'm giving it straight, man. Come on, man. Man, stop it, man. Stop it.
Just like, okay, so John Thompson didn't make Allen Iverson a better player? John Thompson?
Fact.
John Thompson made Allen Iverson a better person.
Hello? I can't hear you, Jay.
I said John Thompson made Allen Iverson a better person. But let me ask you this.
You didn't make him a better player?
Listen, I said he made him a better person. Let me ask you this.
No, I said better player.
He didn't make him a better player. You're saying he didn't make him a better player. That's what you're telling me.
Listen.
One of the all-time great coaches that make him a better player.
Listen.
Are you serious?
Listen.
Are you serious?
Listen.
Are you
Listen.
serious with that?
Listen.
Are you serious?
Listen. If you ask him, listen. If you asking me the question, let me answer the question. John Thompson made Allen Iverson a better player. You happy? But again, what the hell do that got to do with his jump shot? You talking about I'm all over the place? Y'all ain't said nothing about that. Got nothing to do with accountability on who hitting the jump shot. But I'm all over the place.
I'm not worried about his jump shot, Jay.
Man, come on, man.
Him getting coached by the right coach.
Man,
to get him to win a championship.
stop it.
I'm
Stop
not worried
it.
about no jump shot.
Stop it.
If I put
What you
shooters
mean?
around him, Jay,
What
I'm
you
good.
mean? What you mean you ain't worried about no
I'm
jump
putting shooters
shot?
around Ben Simmons. I ain't worried about Ben Simmons.
He got it. I mean, man. Crazy.
Are you serious? You ain't worried about Ben Simmons in the jump shot, but if you got money on the Sixers to win and he missed a jump shot, I bet you ain't gonna be happy about it.
You ain't gonna worry. He gotta hit that jump.
Come on, man. Stop, man. Cut it out, man. Cut me in or cut it out, man.
Look how many players that came in throughout the history
You give
who
me
were
Klay
terrible
Thompson
at jumpers.
Curry on the wings, and when Ben Simmons up top, I'm good.
And I'm telling you right now that even in the Today BA, and excuse me for getting animated, even in the Today BA, the game is going to call you out. You can get away with 82 games not hitting a jump shot because you got all the other pieces and all that stuff around you. Guess what? I shouldn't have to build around you. Get your motherfucking ass to the free throw line and hit jump shot, and I ain't got to go get no specialist. What you talking about? This league, the game is all about specialists. Now I got to go get this guy because you can't do this. And I got to go get that guy because you can't do that. Man, I ain't trying to hear that, man.
Today, ABA, they had specialists back in the old days, Jay. Come on now. They had specialists back in the
Listen, Dennis Rodman was a specialist. But Dennis Rodman was a specialist because he by choice. It ain't that Dennis Rodman couldn't do all the other stuff that all the other.
So was Greg Hodges. All them guys were specialists. Them Curry, they were all specialists.
Man,
I gotta check out, y'all.
What are you talking about?
Hey, Chris, good. Hey, we sorry.
Right.
You see how it go, man. We good looking out, man. We appreciate you for calling. Yeah, man, cut it out,
All right.
man. Yeah, appreciate you for calling, man. I ain't trying to Double J and Doc. I ain't mean to freeze y'all out, man. Sorry about that. But who all gone? Oh, they both gone.
I'm still here. I was listening to y'all. This was getting good. I'm like, don't stop on my
man. I mean, listen.
I'm not. Don't do it. Absolutely.
Listen, I don't knock coaching, and I know this ain't where we was going, but I'm glad it went here. I don't knock coaching. I do not knock coaching. Yes, you need a coach, but what are coaches for? Coaches are for they calling a timeout. They telling a guy, hey man, settle down a little bit. When you come off that screen, you shooting it too hard. Coaches are like philosophers, so to speak. the vantage point that they have from in a game, they can tell you if you're going too fast or if you're not going fast enough. When they call a timeout and you hear coaches talking, they don't say, "Hey Ben, I need you to tighten up on your jump shot." What are coaches saying when they do the coach speak? What we need to do, fellas, is rebound. We need to make sure that we box enough. It's philosophical, not structural. The reason why, remember now with the Sixers, it was trust the process. Oh, the Sixers, they trust the process. Now that they're not having the success that would equate to or match the trust in the process, so to speak, now it's, should we get rid of Embiid, or is Embiid a Hall of Famer, or can Ben Simmons hit this? And then there was some video about him working out in the gym. He was hitting threes. Then what you working on him for? I ain't worried about his jump shot. Again?
Okay, but Jay, see, again, here you're asking us to operate with only half of the question. You're not asking us to bring in the other half of the equation, because you're leaving out the part that here's what's going on in Philadelphia. One thing that's going on in Philadelphia is that the media and all the hype and all the publicity has driven a wedge between those two young stars. And because there's no real coach there to keep them and deal with that team and bridge the gap and deal with the egos and make them work on the basketball court so they can play off each other's real strength and get people around them. That's why when you hear the murmuring of the teammates, they say, we really got some problems with in the locker room, because it's about ego and who got this who talking to this girl, and who came to the game to see me, and who got this many endorsements. And what that stems from is the fact that they have never been coached. They don't have a coach. And when they get a real coach, they will be a better team. If they got Mark Jackson to be a coach, that would be a better team instantaneously. They would be a better team overnight, because he wouldn't take none of that foolishness, and they would have to answer to that. But right now, whether you believe it or not, coaching still matters.
I never said it didn't matter. When I say personal accountability, how in the world am I saying coaching don't matter?
You flip-flopped again, because you pointed out where it was necessary and where it's completely irrelevant, where it's philosophical, but you're skipping the practices. Why did Phil Jackson end up with the Lakers if coaching was necessary?
Listen, let me repeat it then. Let me repeat it. I said, at what point where I said player accountability is devoid or absent completely of coaching? Where did I say that at? Pull up the tape where I said.
Since you open your mouth on this subject.
Pull up the tape. I said, how did I say coaching don't matter? I said, I'm not putting all of the blame on the coaching for a player not being able to do what he should be paid to do as a professional. So how am I saying coaching is irrelevant or coaching don't matter? I didn't use them words at all.
We're reminding you that all we've been trying to get you to concede this whole point is that coaching does matter. You've been telling us about personal accountability of this player and that player, and we've been saying to you that coaching at this level, it matters, because if they don't have a coach, they will not perform. And you're telling us, what about you when the police come and the police show up and you're 18-year-old and get your backside inside? That's what you've been telling us, that the 18-year-old got.
So let's go back to this. Let's go back to this then. Since I'm the joke, but it's fine. I know what I'm talking about, but let me say it this way then.
Not a joke. We're saying this. You told us you weren't saying that. That's not a joke. This is what you said. We're not telling. That wasn't a joke.
I used it as an analogy, but I'll stay away from the analogies then. I'll stay away from the analogies. I said Ben Simmons not being able to hit a mid-range jump shot consistently or shoot free throws, you said it's because of coaching.
I'm saying coaching has a part to play.
No, not a part. Because if it was a part, you wouldn't have said blame the coaching. Y'all said blame the coaching.
But Jay, No, yeah, blame the coach for not using him correctly. Blame the coach for not making him understand initially from young that's what he's been working on, a jump shot. Blame the coaches. He has not had good coaching. Yes.
So then I said, if Ben Simmons is in the league for 10 years and still can't hit a jump shot, are you still going to blame the coach?
If he never had good coaching, for the same reason that LeBron can't shoot a free throw and doesn't have a go-to move because he's never had a good coach. Same exact reason. He doesn't have a go-to move. We won't ever remember LeBron for having a quote-unquote go-to move other than a rundown block. And you will not remember him for being a good free throw shooter because he's never – what does everybody say about him?
Well, then if coaching or the lack thereof is responsible for players' inabilities and inefficiencies or deficiencies, then why do we talk about what players are in? Why is it when we talk about a player being whatever a player is – why do we
the NBA is a player-driven league, but we don't fire players when the player is unable to bridge the locker room gap. We fire the coach because he's the first line that management, players, fans, everybody looks to the coach to keep that together. And that's why we look for Phil Jackson.
We ain't talking about camaraderie.
Pat Riley.
We ain't talking about camaraderie. I'm not talking about camaraderie. I'm not talking about keeping the locker room together, and I'm not talking about everybody holding hands.
That's not camaraderie. That's not camaraderie. No, that has nothing to do with camaraderie. A good coach don't even care if they get along. Ask Bill Belichick. He doesn't care if they like each other. He just cares that they listen to what he says to do, and they do it, and he doesn't care if they like it or not. He says, do it this way or get out of this locker room, and we don't care if we ever see you again.
Okay, and another thing that Bill Belichick says is what? What does Bill Belichick say to all of his players?
What?
Do your job.
That's the point. A coach tells you to do your job.
Okay. So okay.
NBA player is doing
Okay.
your job.
Okay, so
coach tells you, this is your job. Go in the gym and shoot 1,000 jump shots. This is your job. That's what a coach. Thank you for making our point.
okay, so if a coach, so hold on. So listen. So Brett Brown ain't never told Ben Simmons to do his job because there's video evidence of Ben Simmons shooting threes. So if somebody, so you mean to tell me? So hold on, Ben Simmons there's video evidence of Ben Simmons working on his three-point shot.
Is that the same as there being video evidence of Mike Brown telling Ben Simmons to shoot free throws? Is that the same thing? Because you said there's video evidence of. So
what I'm saying to you is, you saying he don't have good coaching, but apparently somebody done told him to do something because he ain't not working on it, but he still can't hit it. What I'm saying to you is, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. In addition to that, you can tell a guy to go do this. You can show a guy to go do this. But in some cases, what if a guy just got 2 left feet? You still blaming the coaching? I'm not ready to blame coaching in its entirety because a guy can't hit a jump shot or a guy can't hit a free throw.
Jay, you washing your dishes in the background there in your house in Dallas?
No, that's not me. That's not me. I don't do background noise. Y'all know that. I don't do background noise. I just like I said, I want to know for 10 years, if Ben Simmons in the league for 10 years and he still can't hit a jump shot, that's on the coaching?
Yes.
That's the coach's fault.
Yes, and it has something to do with coaching.
Not something.
Because
I'm asking you, whose fault is it? Not part of whose fault it is.
Coaches. Here's why. Yes, I said yes, and here's my answer. Yes. The answer is because if I could get in the league for 10 years and make the kind of money he's going to make in 10 years and he's never learned to shoot a jump shot, I wouldn't learn to get a jump shot either, because if I made it for 10 years he's going to probably have $900 trillion in 10 years, the way they're paying players now. So why would he need to get a jump shot if he's made it that long in the league being Ben Simmons? If he couldn't make
I didn't say nothing about need. I said who are you going to blame? What we talking about need for? I said if Ben Simmons is in the league for 10 years and he don't have a jump shot in 10 years, who's to blame? Not who need what and what not.
The coaches. The coaches.
I'm blaming both.
That's my point. Thank you. If I say a guy ain't got a jump shot, I'm putting the onus on both. Just like when I was having a conversation about Tom Brady and the Patriots, was it Bill Belichick, was it the system, or was it Tom? I said a combination of both. It's both.
No, but
then stop calling it the Today BA.
No, you gave it.
I'm calling it I'm calling it the Today BA because of the style of play, not the accountability. There's a difference.
Are you sure about that? Hang on a second. Here's why. What would happen if the Lakers were 5th through 8th in the West right now? Do you think that their head coach would, his head would still not have already been sent to the guillotine?
I don't know.
Rolling.
I'm talking when I say style of play, I'm talking about with 3 minutes left in the game, for instance, and the team that's got the ball is in the bonus and been in the bonus for 2 of them 3 minutes, and they come down and just jack up a 3. That's what style of play is to me. I ain't talking.
Who dictates whether a team does that or not?
What?
Who dictates that?
That's right.
Who makes that?
That's just it. It ain't the defense dictating it. It's the team that's dictating it. They just.
You, who dictates that?
Who dictates?
Just the team. The team just gets it. The team just gets together in the huddle and say, "Hey, let's stop and decide that." Who dictates that?
Who dictates what? The bad possessions?
Who dictates what you just described? A team coming down court and making a decision to whether or not they jack up a jump shot. Who makes the determination of what play is run in that moment?
It could be the player or it could be the coach. I'm going to tell you why it could be the player. Because there's a lot of players, just like in the post I just put up, there's a lot of
players. If it came from the player,
there's a lot of players that play to get theirs.
And a consistent.
A lot of players play. I'm going to get mine. I'm going to get mine. I'm going to get mine.
Very good example. That's a great example. So when a team has players like that, does that mean they have a good coach?
You can say that. Don't nobody in the league got good coaches then.
Maybe that's why the Clippers don't play like that.
I don't know. The Clippers do play like that at times. But but what you're saying too is you speaking to is the style of play. I was making a point about the style of play, not personal responsibility. They're not the same. The style of play,
though, because the style of play is based off of the other, and that's really a microcosm of why the league is in the current way that today's ABA is. It's the lack of one which is leading to the other. So what you're saying is you have no dominant coaches. Where's the Larry Browns in the ABA? Greg Popovich is on his way out.
If you all just sat here and said because players make so much more money than these coaches are irrelevant then anyway. If the players are running the teams, what are we talking about coaches for? If they don't listen to the coach. Paul Silas is gone, remember? We talking about the Today BA. How many Greg Popoviches are in the league? 1? That leaves 29 other teams whose coaches ain't nothing but David Blatts. So now we do what? We go right back to the player.
That's why you're seeing the products on the floor.
Listen, that's why
yet here we are.
Listen.
Talking about why is there a problem with Ben Simmons not being able to develop a jump shot over years, and LeBron James still shooting less than 70% from the free throw line over a decade? There's your problem.
Okay, so LeBron James been shooting bad free throws for 17 years. At no point throughout his career. So in other words, then for a guy to have such a high IQ, he can't think for himself then. So in other words, a professional athlete that's been in the league for 17 years is going to wait. A professional athlete is going to wait. In other words, how many situations do you have to be in to fail in as a player to take it upon yourself to say whether coach called me or not? How many times have we heard about players, man, this dude was the first one in the gym and the last one to leave? You think that was all because of who the player's coach was? Is that what you're telling me?
It came from within, and we've told you that.
What?
We know there's a handful of players in NBA history that have had that mindset. And regarding your previous question, ask LeBron. He's been to the finals 9 times, and he still hasn't changed it.
Okay, so then it don't come from within. So then all these conversations about GOAT and best all time, all of that stuff is irrelevant then. if it's all because of coaching. So what we need to do then is we need to start talking about the coaches. We need to start ranking the coaches then. Who the top 10, who the top 5 and all that. Why we ranking players? If the reason why the players ain't what we think they should be or supposed to be or what their profession say they should be is because of the coaches. Why do we give credence to the players at all if it's because of the coaches?
Because it's a partnership.
Oh, so it's
But
both. It's so
the role of the coach, as you've
oh,
of the role
so
of the
it's
coach,
both
as you've
parties then.
identified,
So in other words,
is to be philosophical.
so wait, so it's
And
two
they're
sides
not-
to every
you're right,
coin.
they are not the most powerful person on the team. Who's benching Allen Iverson in today's game? They wouldn't. None of them would. Maybe Doc Rivers.
Because he's stupid.
Okay, so if a coach can't tell a player nothing because players make so much money and got the power because they're not firing the players, right? They're not firing the players. They're firing the coaches. So what is a coach in the today NBA? He ain't nothing but a yes man anyway, right? But yet
I
and
agree,
still,
100%.
but yet and still, he got all this power though
But Jay,
to make the player different or
but
better.
Jay, that's what we're telling you. But that's what we're telling you. That's what we're telling you. Today's coaches don't have any power. The players are more powerful than them, and we're telling you the system. The players
And because the
come up in,
players are more
they
powerful,
haven't
I'm
never
telling you,
been
Ben
coached.
Simmons is the
No,
reason
no,
why Ben
okay,
Simmons
no.
can't hit a bull in the backside with his jump
Hey.
shot.
Oh wow! So
A prime example of what Brother Rich is talking about is LeBron James and Tyronn Lue. You
That's exactly
cannot tell
right.
me Tyronn Lue ran that team. That was LeBron. You see plenty of times
Exactly
LeBron
right. Where
took
everybody
that
know
clip
that the
from.
player runs the team. The player tells
LeBron
the coach
ran
what to do.
Cleveland.
Everybody knows that. Everybody knows. We
So
know
then
that
if the
young man is
player
better
runs
than
the
coach,
team, then
and
who
he's now
does
the
it
king
come
of the
from
league.
within to be better? If the player runs the team
But
and
Jay-
Double J just said it got to come from within, who is the within coming from?
No. See, again, you keep making this within argument, and what we're saying. to
That's
you
what
is
Double J
what
just said. I'm
you
using
just
Double
did,
J's just
admitted,
words just
you
now.
think- No. You made that. You make that argument that it's on the player, it's on the player, and it's on the player.
That's
And
what I've
we're
been
to
saying,
you
but
is
I
that
use
you
the
just
word
need to
within.
admit, You think you believe the whole league should be like Kobe.
No,
And
I
what you-
don't.
What you're
No, I
failing to
don't.
accept,
No, I don't.
sir.
No,
Well,
I
if the
don't.
whole league is not like Kobe, then you understand. That Kobe was different because Kobe was the guy that after practice he still wanted to stay and work on his game, but everybody else wanted to leave because practice was over for them, and it was just their job. It was just
Okay.
It wasn't that serious to them. But they had to be coached and they had to be told to do this, that, the other, to play as a team and to follow this guy's lead. And what we're saying to you is that's a rare specimen. The rest of the players need to be coached. They need somebody
Okay,
to
so
tell
then
them,
let
"Look,
me
you
say
gotta
this.
do
We
you
all
gotta do this."
agree. We all agree that Alvin Gentry as a coach really might not be the best coach for the Pelicans, right?
Fact.
But who took Lonzo Ball and took Lonzo Ball's shot from underneath his chin to over the top in less than half a season?
And that's why
And it
people
wasn't
will say,
Lonzo
that
Ball. That's not player accountability. That's not on the player.
Who?
That's coaching.
Correct.
Who? But Alvin Gentry is the wrong coach for the Pelicans. He ain't the right coach for them. So
Because he's a good because he could be a great assistant coach. He's a great coach where you take him and play. That's why you have player development coaches. You have an assistant coach. You have this coach. Then you have a head coach that brings all that together. And what we're saying is that certain players, they respond and they'll admit this. You're arguing with things that Jordan said, that Kobe said, that Allen Iverson said, that real players have said, this coach helped me. He helped me to understand, to go work on this part of my game, or to do this, or take this more seriously, or be more of a professional. But the coaches help, and what we're saying is that at that Ben Simmons level, you still haven't answered the question. Show us when he's met a coach. The guy that coaches.
I don't know all the guys. I don't know all his coaches, man. So I can't say that. But I'll tell you this:
I know enough about Ben Simmons because he came up with LeBron's agency to tell you this. The guy that got the job to coach him at LSU only got the job because he was there to just make sure he was there. And you saw the documentary where Ben Simmons told you, "I never went to class."
Okay, yeah, right, okay.
He never. Okay.
Listen, I'm not knocking coaching. I'm not saying coaching don't matter. I'm not saying coaching don't matter. I get the difference between Greg Popovich and David Blatt. But at the same time, what I'm saying to you is, in order for whatever the coach is going to say to a guy or not say to a guy, the guy has to be receptive to it. You can have a Paul Silas and tell a young dude, and then what happened to him? He up out of there. But guess what? As instrumental as Phil Jackson was for Michael Jordan, it was not Phil Jackson who told Michael Jordan that he needed to go get in the gym and get stronger because the Pistons was whooping his ass. That came from Mike. Mike said, I knew that whenever I played the Pistons, every time I went to the hole, I was going to get tore out the frame. So what did I have to do?
Every player in the league to Michael Jordan.
No, listen, listen, because I'll use I'll use every player that played at Woodhill. Every player that I played against at Woodhill that got his butt handed to him.
Every player that played at Woodhill, so you're comparing every player that played at Woodhill to Michael Jordan.
No, I'm comparing guys who love the game. Come on, it's not a literal comparison, man. It's a figurative comparison.
It is a literal comparison when you use Michael Jordan and Ben.
I'm using what you, man. Come on, man. Come on. What I'm saying to you is, okay, forget the name.
No, but Jay.
What I'm saying to you is, man, the player has an accountability for wanting to be better. Michael Jordan wanted to be better.
They compare him to Scottie Pippen.
Scottie Pippen wanted to be better.
Well, compare him to Scottie Pippen as wanting to be better. But when you saying Ben Simmons, that because Michael Jordan operated at a different level, and we don't have Michael Jordans every day. This is the thing about when we had this GOAT conversation, like anybody could be the GOAT.
I'm not talking about the name. I'm just talking about what the player went to do to go get better. It don't matter what your name is.
But James, why do you dismiss the fact? Again, it's almost as though we're not being honest about how these young players come up. You just continue to dismiss the fact that I'm telling you, look at Ben Simmons' trajectory to the NBA. You're not showing me anybody that coached a young man. All you want to do is pile on him and say,
who? I don't know all his coaches. So I can't. How am I going to name something that I don't? If I can't speak on something I don't know.
I'm telling you. But I'm telling you who coached him. I'm telling you he only came to LSU. I'm telling you there's a documentary on him on television.
Okay, now that he's in Philadelphia, you're telling me Brett Brown ain't never told him to go work on his free throws? You know that Brett Brown ain't never told him that.
He's a coach of who? Again, show me examples where he told him that.
I don't.
We have heard players say that locker room is disunited, and there are a lot of players in there. We got problems in there. We hear that. We do hear that, and we know that that's a direct responsibility on the coach. We look at them on the floor, and we understand they look disoriented as a team, like they don't even know what they're doing and who play this position. And novice basketball players like us who played in playground basketball can look and say, man, they need a better coach. And people talking about, will he be fired? That's been the talk since he's been there. Everybody knows he shouldn't have that job. But nevertheless, we're looking at Ben Simmons, and Ben Simmons is the problem, rather than saying, look, Ben Simmons is a talented young player that if he just had a coach that worked with him or put him with an assistant coach that put him in the gym to shoot jump shots, at least get his jump shot better, we're denying.
I'm not saying Ben Simmons is the problem. I'm not saying Ben Simmons is the problem. What I'm saying to you is, I don't believe in single-sided nickels. It's two sides to every story. That's all I'm saying.
But we don't ever hear you mention. We never hear you mention the other side, though. You always start.
I don't need to mention the other side because y'all mention the other side for me. Why would I be redundant in mentioning the other side? Why would I mention the other side when y'all already mentioned the other side? That's redundant.
That must be a Dallas nickel.
I don't know. But I'm saying, if you're going to say heads, I'm going to say tails. So we can let people know that it's two sides to every coin. If I say the same thing that everybody else is saying, then what's that? What's that saying? That ain't good.
Both of y'all, that just means both of y'all are wrong.
How? And it's two sides to every coin. It's two sides to every coin, but it's the same thing on both sides of the coin?
There's because I was taught there's your side, my side, and then there's the truth.
I don't know. I don't know about whose side and that side. I'm talking about coins. I ain't talking about 1, 2, 3. On one side of a coin, you got one thing, and on the other side is something totally different. But together, those two things make up the coin.
And then there's the middle.
I guess. I ain't never seen a coin that had a middle. I don't know. I'm talking. It's two sides to every coin. I'll put it like this: you got a left arm and a right arm. You got a left eye and a right eye. Yeah, you can see out of one, but seeing out of both is better, right? Or is that a bad analogy? I ain't never not coaching out this whole whatever this is. I ain't never said coaching don't matter at all. I ain't never said that. But when we say the, T-H-E, as in solely, when I said that he ain't got a jump shot or can't hit a free throw, everybody said that's coaching. They didn't say part of that is coaching or some of it, half of it, a little bit of it. He said that's coaching, as if when we want to talk about what a player is or ain't, or what he can and can't do, we point to coaching. All right, but is that where you're going to stop at? I don't have a problem with you pointing at the coach. Again, I know the difference between Greg Popovich and David Blatt and John Thompson and Tyronn Lue. I know the difference. Come on, man. I was born at night, not last night.
Sure?
But if we point at coaching, is that where you start and stop at? Yeah, I'm sure. Is that where you start and stop at? So when we see a guy can't do something,
job.
huh? It's what?
It's their job, and they have a staff. We're not talking about a singular entity here. But again, these players, look, as you stated, your words, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make them drink. If these guys do not want to put the time in, look, then the coach is going to move on to the next guy. Who's going to help make this team better? I need wins today, not tomorrow.
Okay, so that was my point then. If you lead the horse to water and you don't want him to drink, he don't want to drink, who made the choice for the horse not to drink? The horse or the guy that was leading him there?
The horse.
Okay. Once again, I'm not saying coaching does not matter, because it does. And one more again.
Emphasize the importance of college basketball, or what I would consider that gap between your AAU teams and in the professional ranks, because of the quote unquote, or maybe G League. Maybe G League fills this gap. Is the development aspect of all of this, which is what we keep coming back to. There's something that is a fundamental miss here, which is why the game
it's because they lazy.
The way that it is.
It's because they lazy for the most part.
Who is they?
Players. Just like I had a guy tell me one time at the job, not RB, man, they can't. The only way they can defense now, man, they can't hand check, so they don't. But what that got to do with you moving your feet? You ain't got to put your hands on nobody to be a good defender. I ain't even talking about a lockdown defender.
How do you learn to move your feet? How do you learn to move your feet? How do you learn to move your feet?
What do you mean, how you learn to move your feet? Watching film.
I'm asking you. Also, you got to go watch. So players should go watch film, right, to learn to move their feet.
That's one thing they can do.
How does a player learn to move their feet? So I'm asking you, how does a player learn to move their feet?
Of course, you're going to be taught by somebody.
So you watch film.
You're going to be.
You got to watch film, and you got to go to practice and put in the work.
That's.
Okay.
Would you say? Did you hold on? Who said? Who said? But who's that person that got to put in the work?
Who's that person that runs the practice?
Who's the person that got to put in the work?
That runs the practice?
The person
Yeah,
that
the
runs
coach
the
is the one running
How
the
do I know
practice,
what
but
to
it is
work
the
on?
player.
How do I know what to work on? Where do I learn what to work on? And
Oh,
where?
it
What do
comes
they
from
call
the
that place where I
listen.
learn
It
what to
comes
work
from listen again.
on? Huh?
What a player. It comes from the coaching. But if you a professional,
So if it
4 or
comes
5 years
from the
in,
coaching, if it comes from if it comes from the coaching, again,
you just said in the practice, who runs the practice? The coach runs. The coach can start the practice. But on the flip side,
and the coach.
on the flip side, if I'm getting my ass busted in practice, that's the problem. Dudes don't take it personal no more. My own son told me. He said the reason why guys my age, he said, Dad, the reason why we don't play defense is because we don't want to be on YouTube or TikTok or whatever it is. He said, because dudes, when they feel like the first time they get embarrassed because of social media, now everybody going to see it. So you got coaches out there telling kids, but kids don't want, they're not willing to do it because they don't want to be embarrassed. So the player has no accountability whatsoever.
No, of course we're not saying the player. The player absolutely has accountability. Yeah, absolutely. And if he didn't have some accountability, he would never make it to the NBA. So obviously, did exercise.
Your talent can do that. What you born with can get you. Your talent can get you there. Your talent.
No. But I could have all the talent in the world. Those guys do put in some work. We can't say they don't do any work. AAU is work. Traveling to those games and playing hard, they work at their skills.
Man.
But there's certain
Not now they
elements of
don't.
their game that they don't develop.
Not now they don't. They don't. I can't speak for all AAUs, but all the AAUs I know except for two. The one Mike Duncan run and the one Earl's running up in Colorado. The AAU programs I've seen, what they do is it's a money grab.
So
is
it's
what
not
it is.
work to run up and down a basketball court.
Huh?
I'm talking about the player themselves. That's not work for them to run up and down a basketball court and play basketball all day long. That's not work. I'm saying the player
They do that for
have to
fun,
put in
man.
Some physical work.
So running up and down the court is work now?
I don't know.
That's work.
Jay, that they are putting in some physical work. These are not horses. These are young men that have to put in some physical exertion. They have to work at that. But the problem is they are not being coached. They're just being run through a system that eats them up. And so they play so many games. People wonder, look, there are reports that are out where people are talking about why are these players, when they get to the NBA, getting hurt so quickly, like the Kevin Durant, like the Derrick Rose, tearing up their knees, having all these atrocious injuries. It's because they are not getting the kind of development that they should be. They're just being run through a basketball playing mill with these AAU teams and these travel teams and this team. So they're pretty worn out by the time they get there to the NBA. And they have issues, and they're not going to college and getting that good coaching and getting that campus life and getting that any kind of balance in their life. They're just being run straight to the league. This is a problem of exactly what you're talking about, marketing and the Today BA and this, that, the other. And you could put it on those players all you want to. But once they sign a contract for a shoe deal for $100 million and a this for this and a that for that, and by the time they look around, they got $300 million in their bank account, more money than they could have ever thought they could imagine in their lives, and all the girls that they could imagine, and everybody kowtowing or bowing down to them like they're the king of the throne of the world. You think them guys want to go in the gym and just work on their game? No, they don't want to do that. Unless we think
so even if the coach is telling them to do that because of all those other things you mentioned, they still ain't gonna do it then.
But that's why we're making a difference, and we highlight players and coaches like Kobe, God rest his soul. We highlight the Clippers with Doc Rivers. We highlight a Larry Brown. We highlight throwback coaches that we can point to, Bill Fitch and some of these people that didn't play that. You played for that team. We highlight what's happening in San Antonio, and that he's a throwback coach today, where people know that man does not play that. You come there to play according to how he wants you to play, and you learn the game and you play it according to the system that they want you to run.
So the coach is responsible for player
Everybody
execution
talks about
too?
When you play,
The coach is responsible for player execution
yes,
too.
because that's what. Yes, it's called a triangle. Yes. They had to learn the triangle. Yes.
I'm in the today BA. The
was learning something that no, that's coaching, Jay. We're talking about coaching. The coach, you asked the question, is the coach responsible for player execution? And my answer was yes. And I gave you the answer to the triangle because Phil wanted you to run the triangle. And he would call a timeout and say, look, we're breaking down. Go back, run the triangle. And you saw that. That's on tape because that's coaching. That's what a coach
So then
does.
the expression
And
coaches coach, but players make
Bryant.
plays, where do that fall at?
Because the coach is smart enough to say, scrap all the plays and go do what you got to do. That also is coaching.
Oh, okay. All right. So then, once again, if all of it boils down to coaching, all of it, why do we even waste time talking about players in any aspect?
Because the NBA is a player-driven league. And yes, we know no one, again, I repeat, no one has said that player responsibility does not matter. What we are continuing to say and continuing to make this only point is that coaching matters. And at that league, at that level, even with Ben Simmons, and had he had a coach, he would be a better player. That's all we're saying. Not that he doesn't have any responsibility. Certainly he does, because none of us think that Ben Simmons should get in the car right now, drink a bottle of liquor, and drive, because that would show that he doesn't have personal responsibility. And we all want him to do better than that. So we know he has personal responsibility. He has personal responsibility for his game. But he also needs a coach, because he's still a child in terms of his development in the NBA. He has enough time that if he got the right coach, if he got a Mark Jackson, everybody believes he could be a very special player for many years to come. That's all we're saying, that he needs a coach. That's why we're talking about who is the coach of the year every year, because what coach took a team, let's talk about Toronto. What happened in Toronto? A coach takes a team, and then the star player leaves, and they're still a team. Why? Because we all realize, oh, wow, they got a good coach, and they have good management, and they're a great team. They are run properly. So it's not no big eyes and little U's. It wasn't a star ego-driven.
And if Kawhi Leonard was not Kawhi Leonard and been with that team, they still would have got 4-0 or whatever they got with what they was been getting. Because they, for the most part, still had everybody except maybe Marc Gasol, I think. And he wasn't really a big factor in the finals run. It took a special guy like Kawhi. Now, Nick Nurse and all them going to get all the credit. And I ain't saying they ain't did nothing. But Kyle Lowry is still Kyle Lowry. Ibaka still be shooting jump shots that he shouldn't shoot and he be missing instead of getting closer to around the rim. All them dudes was the same. The only thing that really changed was Kawhi Leonard. And except in the fact that DeRozan was out of there. But other than that was the only everything the year before that when the Cavs swept the Raptors up out the building, everything was the same. The reason why they still maintain, huh?
Thank you, Double J. Please finish that.
What? No, what did he say? That wasn't Double J. That was you.
Why
what?
have they remained consistent year over year?
What do you mean? Why they remain consistent?
If it was merely the insertion of Kawhi Leonard,
it ain't. It's the today BA. What? Hold on. Did we not discuss the shot chart thing? Did I not mention that in game 3 or 4, when the Cavs played the Warriors, the combined 3-point attempts alone? Guys is shooting 300 to get 100. That's why. Man, they're not going down and if you, like I said, if you watch some of these games that they've been showing on NBA TV and all these in the absence of real sports the real hoop as we know it right now, you'll see the offense is run meticulously. These dudes nowadays, man, come on, man. We really, Kyle Lowry, the same Kyle Lowry at Villanova. Man, come on, man. A lot of people didn't even know who Kyle Lowry was until he got to the Raptors. I'm telling you, if you go back and watch Kyle Lowry, he was the same dude that he is. And Kyle Lowry ain't no different or no less than. Yeah, he a bulldog, so to speak. But all of that trying to go under people's legs and all that kind of stuff, man, it's a joke what we seeing. Yeah, dudes is more talented. Yeah, because to RB's point, a point guard like a John Stockton in today's league is what? 6'4", 6'5", and he's a shooter. It don't take no skill, man, to roll the ball up the floor. Then when you see the defense coming at you, pick it up and take a shot. Wow, that's really skillful. Stop it. Stop it. Because at the end of the day, I'm also pointing to the fact, if you really look at the entire landscape of the league right now as a whole, everybody counting points per game. Like I said, I'm counting all the misses. I'm counting all the shots that ain't followed. Coaching or whoever it is. That's what I mean by style of play. Man, don't nobody work. The defenses do not make offenses work to score no more because everybody trying to get their fan duels jumping off. Come on, man. I was born at night, not last night. I'm not saying coaching is irrelevant. It is. But if these players ain't listening to the coaches, then, I mean, at some point, how many of them you got? Listen, that's why we say certain dudes in certain situations are scared of going to the free throw line in the fourth quarter. Because you know you got a flaw. And then we show all these videos. Oh, he working on his game. He working on his game. Okay, cool. Cool, that's fine. But my question has always been, this is why I said player accountability to some degree. If you go in the gym to work on your three-point shot, but you know you're deficient in free throws, how you working on your game? And who told you to do that? Who told you to do that? That's what I want to know. And I'd like to know who the coach was. Maybe it was his daddy that told Lonzo. Because whoever that coach is, if it indeed was a coach, that guy needs to write a book and pass it out through every player, coach, representative, GM, ball boy, Gatorade, drink getter, whoever it is, you need to pass that book out to everybody in the league. Everybody. I have never seen a player who had Lonzo's shot all through college, ain't been with the Pelicans in 10 minutes, in less than 10 minutes, shot look entirely different. And that was all at the behest of a coach? Excuse me, at the encouragement of a coach? Who is that guy? Find that guy for me. I'm going to get him on the show.
Yes, because he went to a professional organization, the same thing that Magic Johnson could have done for him, where Magic spoke on it and said, I'm not going to change his shot, because they asked him, are you going to bring somebody to have him work on his jump shot? He said, no, I'm just going to let him work with it the first year. And he did not have anybody to work on it. When he went to the Pelicans, that's the first thing they brought in, somebody to work with him on it, developing a different jump shot, because that's what they were supposed to do. And that's why the management there is talking about, we're going to develop these players. We're not interested in them being this right now and going to the first round and getting to the playoffs. We just want to develop them, because that's what coaching does. At that level, that's when you take young players and you invest in them and make them spend time in the gym and work on their egos together, work on their game together, and say, look, don't worry about the cameras right now. Work on your jump shot, young fella. The camera will come later. That's what a coach does. A coach says, I know you want to run right now, but we're going to run because I know it's hot right now, but this is going to pay off when we in game 3 down the road in the playoffs. And this is what your coach does. Your coach puts in that kind of thing in you, and you want to do that for them. So coaching is important. So no matter how much you want to,
I never said it was not important.
Players, it is on the young players.
I want to read you an excerpt from a SB Nation article about Lonzo Ball's shot mechanics getting changed. changing a shooting rhythm that has worked at the next highest levels for so long isn't so easy from a mental standpoint before a physical one. But Ball is committed, and he's finally starting to see the results. Case and point, you work with the professional to get the professional results, but you have to be committed.
So the commitment comes from who?
Here's the thing.
No. Being committed comes from who?
Comes from the player.
I rest my case.
We can tell
the commitment.
No.
Exactly.
Listen. What he started out saying was there was a player development guy who worked with Lonzo. That's fine. That's the guy leading the horse. And in this case, Lonzo is the horse. But because the horse was committed, that means something had to come from the horse in order for what the guy who's leading him understand he was going to water.
And you know what the honest truth was to answer that question? What happened to the horse in this case being Lonzo? He's seen a tweet from Jay Williams and it pissed him off.
Oh my God. Okay, that's fine. That's really all I'm speaking to. This last hour, what I'm saying to you is, if coaches are no more than figureheads, but at the same time ain't enough good ones. Okay, I'll dissect that in a minute. They ain't number figureheads, but it ain't enough good ones because we gonna blame them. But even though they ain't really nobody to even take into account because players make so much money more than them. Okay, then at some point the player has to say to himself, I don't respect my coach. He's a nobody. But I'm tired of that dude over there I'm tired of John Morant coming down, busting my ass. So if I ain't going to listen to my coach, who I'm going to listen to? And even if I do listen to the coach, the few coaches that tell me to go do, it still has to, the other part has to come from you. In this case, the player. Which is why I said it's the coin thing. You see what I'm saying? If you take a coin, what you see on one side, you ain't going to see on the other side. But you need both of them to spend it. I ain't never knocked coaching. But if the first thing when we be having this discussion, if the first thing we do is go to coaching, all right. But I'm saying let's not leave out the personal accountability either. That's all I'm saying. I can respect what Tex Winter was and what Phil Jackson wasn't, but what Phil Jackson was that Tex Winter wasn't. I can understand what David Black was too, and Mike Brown. Anytime a player can come off the court and unfortunately for Eric Spoelstra too, but Eric Spoelstra had Pat Riley, which other folk didn't. Anytime you come off the court, man, and you knock a dude's shoulder half out of socket, the coach out of socket, the player doing that, that's when I saw the league was really changing, not for the good. But everybody went talking, the game has evolved. Evolved into what? So then when the people say that, I ask them, give me your definition of evolve. And then I'll give you my definition of devolved. And then we'll see whose is more apropos. And then find out where we basing it on after all that's said and done. Coaches do matter. Technically, I was a coach for my son. But the day I came in the house and he was on 2K, and I'm not saying I'm Jordan, I'm just saying if you're a basketball, see, basketball in its simplicity and complex, when it's done in a certain way, it's like an orchestra. It's like a symphony. You need both parts in order for the symphony. You need a conductor, but you need the dude on the cello and on the bass too. When the conductor give out assignments or homework or whatever for them to go practice this piece, you think he's going to be calling all 500 members of the orchestra or whatever it is every day? Hey, did you? No. Listen, you know where you got to come in, E flat, whatever it is. Okay, that's on you. I would come in the house every day. Why you salty, man? I hate losing. I hate losing. This is my son now. So I said, well, what you going to do about it? I hate losing. I said, nah, man, you don't hate losing. Yes, I do. I said, if you really, you like saying that you hate losing because it sound good. But if you really hated losing, then when I come in this house, you wouldn't be sitting on that couch. And this is after, technically, his coach, me, went out and bought weight vests, went out and bought a hoop, went out in the yard with 2 bad knees. I ain't even supposed to be out there showing him how to do a drop step and how to do this and this and all and this and all of that. But guess what? It wasn't until one of the little dudes who played, was a senior, played at Villa Angela, lived around the corner, came in the backyard and dusted him. Then I come in the house, I'm like, where Khalil at? He outside. Really? I'm like, man, go out. Go in the back. What you doing out here, man? Man, I can't let Scott and them come over here and beat me in my own backyard. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. That ain't had nothing to do with me. I had to been showed him the game. I'm the one that told him his left hand was weak. So I understand the significance of coaching, maybe not at the NBA level, but to a ball player, a young ball player, I did it with I ran Greg Bale's skills clinics. Yes, Mr. Southwest Missouri State played with the Harlem Globetrotters. Look him up. Greg Bale went to Shaw High School. Ask him if you see him next time who ran his skills clinics. I did. When my son first started playing, I said, man, your left hand is weak. So here's what you're going to do. Your right hand is strong. For every time you do a layup, I want you to do 3 in your right hand, 5 in your left. It maintains your strengths, but your left is weak. The extra 2 will make your weakness a strength. So you maintain your strength, and then you make your strength stronger, and you make your weaknesses a strength. And it gives you balance.
Almost sound like you was coaching him.
But who made him get out there and do it? He did. That's my point.
Well, he had a motivation. Did you hear? If you listened to the words of your story, there was something that was driving him. There was a reason he didn't like losing. He didn't want to get beaten in his own backyard. These are all factors, no different than Lonzo not liking that tweet. And so what did he do? He sought.
What did who do?
He worked with someone.
What did who do?
Could, develop him.
No. What did who do?
That?
You said, what did he do? Ain't that what you said?
Well,
right. You said, what did he do?
I don't know if he sought you out or vice versa, or if you came to him. It sounded like you had came to him and questioned him.
No. You said in the case of Lonzo.
So again, in that way, you coached him.
No. You just said in the case of Lonzo, you said what he did. Isn't that what you just said?
Well, meaning he was upset, so he
did something about it.
Was agreed. But
he
again,
did something about it.
But what did he do, Jay? What did he do, Jay? What did he do? He did do something. What did he do?
I don't know what he did. All I know is
what did he do?
I don't know what he did.
You do know. He just told us what he did. He went and found the coach. He went and found somebody who could teach him how to do it better because he understood that obviously the way he was doing was incorrect. So he needed to get, as Double J read to us, he used the language. He went and got with the professionals. He went and got with somebody that could teach him the mechanics of his shot and change it enough where he could be comfortable and have a better jump shot. That it was not a Ray Allen jump shot, but it was good enough for him that it made him a more confident and a more competent jump shooter.
And I'm agreeing with that.
That's what coaching gives you.
I'm not saying that. I'm again. Where did I say coaching does not matter at all? Where did I say that? Because I'm talking about the player means that I'm not giving the coach his due. I did not one time say coaching does not matter. But I'm saying coaching is not the only thing that matters. That's all I ever said. If Lonzo got a coach to help him, as was the case with me and my son, I helped my son. It took my son. Something had to come from within him to either seek out a coach or to get his busted by his peers and want to be better. But either way it goes, Lonzo wanting to be better came from Lonzo. The coach came in to give him instructions as to how, but the want has to come from the player. Otherwise, what the coach want don't matter. That's all I'm saying. That's all I ever been saying. I'm not saying that the coach, in a lot of cases, I've seen it too. They let kids, like you said in the AAU, which is why I have a problem with the AAU, which is why I don't call it work, but that's a story for another day. They let them come in the gym, and they let them shoot threes. But I'm going to tell you something. Bob Nance said hard work. Now, it might have been said before, but he's the first person I heard say it. Hard work beats talent when talent don't work hard. I would take my son to Bob Nance, and if you ask anybody in Cleveland, Ohio that knows, they will tell you Bob Nance is one of the best basketball skills. I ain't seen not a kid that went through his program not only become a better basketball player, but they all went to college and graduated. Every last one of them. The man is running a remarkable basketball program. But here's what he'll say to all of the kids before he let them even pick up a basketball. He said, you're only going to be with me maybe twice a week. The rest of the time, what you get from here, it's going to be on you. That's my whole point. That's all I ever been saying. The coach is necessary, obviously. But if players ain't paying no attention to him, but yet and still they scared to get to the free throw line in the fourth quarter, what you scared of, you got to do something. If you ain't going to listen to your coach because you make more money than him and he really irrelevant, then who is it on then? At that point. That's all I ever said. Coaching definitely matters. I give Greg Popovich all the credit in the world. And you couldn't play without it in the era we grew up in. They didn't care how high you could jump or how fast you could run. Son, I wanted you to set that baseline screen. You didn't do that. Come have a seat next to me. And you could have been averaging 35 points a game. So I get the significance of coaching. But it ain't going to be but so many times I miss free throws at the line in a crowd of 20,000 people, and we getting sent home early. Excuse my French. Damn that. Damn that. Okay, if my coach ain't going to tell me, I'm going to do something about it. Because at the end of the day, the one element that's missing from most of these dudes today that I seen in Lonzo, and finally I saw in my son, and what the Jordans and Kobe's definitely had it, they took it personal. See, a coach can give you instruction all day, every day, but if you as a player don't take it personal, it's going in one ear and out the other. Because when you take it personal, that's why Jordan was Jordan. That's why Kobe and Shaq was Shaq when they got with Phil. Because in the case of Jordan and Phil, Doug Collins was Jordan's boy. After practice one day, he said that Phil told somebody to tell Mike, hey, I want you to know, excuse me. Phil told Mike, when we out of here, I want you to come holler at me in my office. Mike was on his way to the ride. I done told this story before. For all y'all that didn't hear it, I'm going to tell it again. We only got about 10 minutes left. I didn't know we was going to go this long in the tooth. But as always, y'all know how we do at the shop, baby. Dude came back and told Phil, hey, he said, man, didn't Mike on his way out. Phil said, what? Phil walked out there, too, and tapped on the window. Yeah, I thought I told you to come in my office, man, when it was Mike said, that's when I knew he was the guy. Not he was the guy to help me with my jump shot, because Mike already had one. Why I don't know why people was killing him for now. He had one in North Carolina. He won the national championship with one. Not because his free throws, or not because the Pistons was roughing him up and he knew Phil wanted to set the tone to let him know, all right, I'm the top dog. But it was in that moment Mike said, oh, that's when I knew he was the guy. That's my bad. My apologies to Doug, but okay. In other words, this guy wasn't going to take my crap. Same thing for Shaq. Phil's message to Shaq had nothing to do with free throws, because Shaq could hit him when he needed to, he was better at him in the playoffs than he was in the in the regular season. But it's cool. He said Phil came to him and said, look, man, if you want to win these, he said he brought the chips in, the trophies. If you want to win these, stop making videos. To your point, Brother Rich, he didn't say, I need you to get better at free throws. I need you to get better at your drop step. He said, go stop doing dumb stuff. In other words, I need your mind to be right, because that's what Phil was. Phil was a Zen master. He was a psychological type dude. The nuts and bolts of being a professional don't mean that the coach don't have no say, but that's on the player all day. Every day. Two sides to every coin, right? Fellas, I want to thank y'all for joining me on this long-winded and extended program today. We didn't even get to my man, Double J's boy, Curtis Jones, because Double J was piping in with some malarkey. RB, I'm surprised you stayed with us this long. Doc gone too? Oh, wow. But it's all to the GO. And on that note, it's been fun, but we got to run. We appreciate y'all for listening. Don't forget to check us out right here on the Spreaker.com network. Really? Really? I'm going to get the feedback now? On the Spreaker.com network, excuse me. You go to the search box and you type in the Shot Report, and while you're there, please give a subscription or subscribe. Or you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, iTunes, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, and give us a follow. And a subscribe there, too. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And you can email us, of course. The Shop Report 365 at gmail.com. And if that don't work, Google it. For my mans, B. Rich, Double J, Big Chris Williams, RB. I thought we was going to have D. Gully, Double J. Did I say Double J? Yeah. And all those who follow and support us, we say thank you. Barbershop J, and you've been listening to the Shot Report. And remember, the next time y'all want to know what's really going on, man, come to the shop. Walk-ins are always welcome. Holla!